بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسول الكريم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Brothers, it's a kind of intimate, informal program, so please, there's a lot of space. Let's come forward. Let's prepare ourselves for the days of Hajj. As sisters as well, you can come forward, insha Allah, those sitting at the back. If you want to come forward, you know, the days of Hajj, whether it be the actual 5 days or either in Makkah, Medina or Azizia, you're going to have the closeness with your fellow Hujjaaj. So inshallah we can build that spirit now and preparation for what's to come, insha Allah. It's going to be a very short program, inshallah. We're going to keep it informal. We have a Q&A session planned after Hafiz Ismail Kulvadia speaks. So you can keep your questions for later on, inshallah. But before we start, as always, we start with the beautiful recitation of the Holy Quran. We have the Secretary of the Gauteng region, Hafiz Qasim Katrada, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل صدق الله فاتبعوا ملة إبراهيم حنيفا إن أول بيت وضع للناس للذي ببكة مباركا وهدى للعالمين فيه آيات بينات مقام إبراهيم ومن دخله كان آمنا ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا ومن كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين قل يا أهل الكتاب لم تكفرون بآيات الله والله شهيد على ما تعملون قل يا أهل الكتاب لم تصدون عن سبيل الله من آمن تبغونها عوجا وأنتم شهداء وما الله بغافل عما تعملون يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن تطيعوا فريقا من الذين أوتوا الكتاب يردوكم بعد إيمانكم كافرين وكيف تكفرون وأنتم تتلى عليكم آيات الله وفيكم رسوله ومن يعتصم بالله فقد هدي إلى صراط مستقيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب صدق الله العظيم.
Shukran Hafiz for the melodious recitation of the Holy Quran. Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Hajj Awareness Programme of the South African Hajj and Umrah Council here in Gauteng. I'd like to thank you for coming through and sparing some time to hear key points of the coming Hajj, insha Allah, from our speakers in a short while. I want to just mention that this program is broadcast on social media. I want to thank Par Excellence for making that possible. And also, I see some members of Hajj operators are in the crowd. Thank you for availing yourselves. Before I call on Hafiz Ismail, I see Hafiz got a lot of notes in his file there. So I hope that you brought pen and paper too, to make some notes. When Hafiz speaks, we always say Hafiz in our meetings is normally a quiet person. But when he starts speaking, we all sit up and take note. On a lighter side, a few years ago, probably about 15, 20 years ago, one of the brothers, I was quite a youngster at that time. I'm still young, alhamdulillah. So a brother came up to me, he says, he just came back from Hajj. And he said, this Hajj I went for now was the best Hajj ever. Now, alhamdulillah, we all feel that when we go, it's your own experience. And so, he said to me, 3 million people were on the Arafah. Now, at that time, 20 years ago, it was not possible to have 3 million people. So obviously people speak with exaggeration. We know in our community when we talk, sometimes when we express with exaggeration. Like, perhaps you have your Friday lunch, your curry khichdi, and then you add your aloo fry, and then you add your pickles, and then you add your papar. And after a few minutes, you don't just have the curry khichdi anymore, you have a bit of a mixed masala there. So likewise, when sometimes people are on the Arafah or Hajj or Mina, you may have challenges. We all book for holidays. Alhamdulillah, when you go for your holiday, it's just perhaps a 2-week trip or 10-day trip or weekend trip, whatever it is. But it's a set group of people, not 3 million people, just maybe 30 people max, or 10 people or 5 people. And inshallah, all goes well, but at times you experience challenges. Now think of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Every component, every facet, every authority, every role player, there isn't a single authority or role player in this whole process that's there to make Hajj difficult. It's there to make it as easy and as smooth as possible. But you're going to experience challenges. It's life. No one out there is going to deliberately try to inconvenience you in any way or the other. So if you have to come across a certain situation, and likewise, unfortunately, with social media, when we experience any slight of a challenge, we're quick to pull out our phones and do the Instagram thing or the social media thing. I'm here now in Arafat, Mina, and the food came 5 minutes late, or the chicken was cold or slightly pink, or whatever the challenge is. Why don't we try to assess the situation instead of aggravating the situation? We have a choice at that time. Do we aggravate the situation and cause unnecessary consternation, or do we try to be a remedy or a solution to the situation? So we're not saying there are going to be challenges. Like I said, every role player, whether it be from South Africa in terms of the SAHUC team, whether it be the mission members, whether it be the Hajj operators, whether it be the muassasa, every facet, every entity is there to ensure that the Hajj process goes as smooth as possible. So when we're there, don't try to make the big mixed masala and exaggerate, but rather give factual information, and we go with an open heart. If you're going to go there to be watchdogs and policemen, then our intention is wrong. So from here on, they say once you've already been accepted and you made your niyyah for Hajj, your journey already starts. Not when you land in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Your journey starts here, starts now. So let's renew our intention and go with the niyyah, insha Allah. So every day from here on as we prepare spiritually, physically, whatever it is. Let's go with a niyyah, soften ourselves and go with that spirit, insha Allah. I'm going to call Hafiz Ismail Kovadia, who needs no introduction. He's been the head of the mission for more than a decade, alhamdulillah. Hafiz has been, he just returned from Durban, where he conducted the program, and from here we'll go to Cape Town. So if there's anybody you want to listen to, Hafiz Ismail Kovadia is the man. He's been there on the ground. He's interacted with the role players. He's experienced challenges. He's been part of strategic teams to put solutions in place for challenges that have arisen over the past. So if there's anybody you want to listen to, whether via the social media or now while you're sitting here, take notes. And I think let's sit and listen attentively to Hafiz Ismail Kovadia. Shukran for your time, Hafiz.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في أول كلامنا. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في أوسط كلامنا. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في آخر كلامنا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, and also the viewers on social media, I take this opportunity to welcome you to this Hajj Awareness Program. There's a few things that I just want to mention before we start. One is that I've been told that I'm rude. I've been told that I'm obnoxious. I've been told that I'm very aggressive. I was at a janaza some time back, and we were having a general chat, and the minute the guy knows you from SAHUC, it becomes a topic of the function. And I told him that this is what I plan to do for this coming road show. He says, you must be careful, eh? I say, why? He said, when you come across the way you want to say it, people say you are rude. I says, Inna Lillah. Unfortunately, the environment that we live in, when you talk the truth, you are a bad person. But when you condone the wrong and you talk lies, people pat you on the back. Hey, very good guy, man. I've made up my mind. I'm going to tell you the truth. Whether you like it, whether you lump it, or whether you accept it, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to change my stance because people think that I'm rude. I don't think I'm rude. I'm just being fair, pure, and honest. And I want to mentally prepare you for this journey of a lifetime. Because many a times our expectations exceeds our mind. What the result is, when we get there, we actually get a shock. And when we get the shock, the first people in the firing line is SAHUC. Anything that goes wrong, from the time the Haji applies to the time he comes back after Hajj, SAHUC is to blame. That's the unfortunate reality. We as South Africans, we don't have the time to verify. We don't have the time to find out what is the truth. And I will mention incidences in my talk of the current year, which will prove my point that, you know what, it is absolutely sad that people don't verify and they go on a tantrum or they start using social media and making statements. In reality, from a Shari'i point of view, it is worse than backbiting. But unfortunately, that's the reality on the ground. Inshallah Aziz, we will continue to do, because at the end of the day, I need to answer to my conscience and I need to answer to my Creator. If I can answer to my conscience that I'm satisfied, I will carry on. And if Allah is happy, I will continue. Otherwise, Allah can stop me tomorrow. Alhamdulillah, I am very, very grateful and thankful to Almighty that He has granted me once again the opportunity to lead this Hajj mission for almost now, plus minus, I think 15 to 16 times. So I can't thank Him enough. And this always comes back to me all the time, and I mentioned that yesterday also in Durban, that Maulana Ehsan Hendricks, may Allah Ta'ala fill his qabr with Noor, said, and I have this in the back of my mind, that to perform Hajj is a great ibadat, absolutely no question. But to go and assist the Haji that performs Hajj is a greater ibadat. So that motivates me to continue doing what I'm doing and what the mission members are doing. So that's the one point that I want to clear before I start. The second thing that I want to mention, and I think this is a philosophy that we need to clear in our minds so that you will understand as I go along why I mentioned this, and I might even repeat it, just to keep it in the back of our minds. SAHUC, the South African Hajj and Umrah Council, is a facilitator. I hope everybody understands English. What's the meaning of facilitator? The people that actually make the rules and the regulations is the Ministry of Hajj. We basically come here, convey those rules to you, and try to implement that so that we can overcome challenges in the kingdom. So I need everyone to understand that first, because if you understand that, then I can tell you many of the issues that you will have on this trip, you will blame the right people. SAHUC this year has formulated a metric system whereby, inshallah, before Hajj, we will send it out to all the Hajjis, and it will outline who's responsible for what responsibility your operators got, what responsibility SAHUC's got, what responsibility lies with SAHUC, what responsibility lies with the service provider, which is known to us as the Muassasa. So hopefully, we anticipate that people will read that document, study it, understand it, and see where this whole thing goes to. But before we even go there, I think we also need to understand, what is Hajj all about? That's the most important thing. If you analyze Hajj, we are actually commemorating what Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam did, Hazrat Hajar alayhi salam, Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam. And you analyze that whole thing, it is based on one simple word, and that is sacrifice. If you learn sacrifice, believe you me, there is no challenge that you will never overcome. And I'm going to mention a very simple incident. I'm not an alim. I'm an ordinary person from the road. When Hazrat Hajar alayhi salam was left in the desert in Makkatul Mukarramah that is known today, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. It was a desert. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam comes and he leaves the day with the Ismail alayhi salam and he walks away. Hazrat Hajar alayhi salam asks Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, "Where are you going?" He doesn't answer. She asked the second time. He doesn't answer. She asked the third time. And she said in that third time, "Is this the command of Allah?" He shook his head and he walked. There was nobody there. Up to the point there was no even water there, because we know how the Zamzam actually came about. Allah loved that act so much, brothers and sisters, so much, that up till the day of Qiyamah, we will be performing this ibadat of Hajj. Based on what? Sacrifice. So if you want your Hajj to be an accepted Hajj, you need to learn the quality of sacrifice. Inshallah. I don't want to give a sermon here. Just now the guy will say, hey, this guy is talking like a big Maulana here, you know. But that's not the idea. I just want to get the basics right. Alhamdulillah, I assume and I presume that most of you here are accredited Hujjaaj. So you will be leaving from here. Naturally, we all fly. So you will be leaving from OR Tambo. The first encounter you will have with the South African Hajj and Umrah Council is obviously the members from the SAHUC that will be at the airport to welcome you and to assist you. Now, one of the challenges that we have, there's 2 Hajis going and 200 people come to make salam. Now, we need to understand the airport is a facility that's used by many people, many nations. It's not only we Muslims. If we clog the place out, and as you've noticed recently, the space has been now limited. So I personally feel that, you know what, there's no need for so many people to come out there and clock. Now, if there is 100 passengers go, and every passenger has, chalo, let's look at 50 people. Can you imagine what the condition of the airport is going to be? At one time, EXA had to get dogs to disperse the crowd because we jam-packed the whole airport. So I think we need to be a bit considerate in that aspect. Do your greeting, your hugging, your crying at home. It's enough for one person to drop you off and move on. Why do we now impede on other people's rights? Muslims are very concerned and should be very concerned of fellow human beings' rights, not necessarily only Muslims. So that's a request from our side. But again, at the end of the day, you need to see whether I make sense in what I say. And if it does, let's try and put that into practice. Number 2, the guys who are there at the airport are primarily there to assist you. Now, sometimes they will come up to you and they will tell you, Haji, this is the queue. Have you got your passport? Where's your visa? Have you got your vaccination card? They're not coming there to show authority. We work close with the authority, with EXA, with the relevant airlines, to make your life easy. But the minute you give an attitude and you start becoming aggressive, then the guy is going to leave you. And I've noticed those who become aggressive and those who show a different attitude are the ones that suffer in the end, because now when they got a problem, how do they come back to you? Because he just told you something that you were not supposed to tell you. You tell the guy, brother, move from here to there. Who are you to tell me? I pay tax, man. I pay SARS my full dues. Now you coming to tell me where I must stand. That's the wrong attitude. Let's change our attitude. In order for a trip, any trip in the world, any traveling you want to do, if you want it to be successful, you want it to be fruitful, then you need to be patient, you need to be disciplined, you need to be cooperative, then you will find things will fall into place. That's why they say, you know, travel is part of Jahannam, mafhum of hadith. Because on travel, there's going to be numerous challenges. How you overcome those challenges will make your trip a good one or a bad one. So please, understand that those guys who are there, they are there to assist you. Now, I'm going to be talking about certain things and I'm going to be probably jumping from one point to the other, but I want to go in chronicle order so that I don't miss these things. Now, while we're talking about the airport departure, I want to bring one thing to the notice. I'm not going to mention the name of the operator, but it has come to our notice. When we go on the protocol, they ask us, which airports are you going to use? That means in Saudi Arabia. And we told them we're going to land in Jeddah and we're going to land in Medina. So that is in our agreement. And when we're going to depart from Jeddah. There's no other airport we depart from. And I'll tell you why. Because there's been some request for Medina departures as well. But I'll explain that why we don't allow Medina or we don't facilitate Medina currently. I've been told, and I believe there's some operator that is selling tickets to depart from Taif. Now, Taif also has an airport. Currently, we don't have permission from the Ministry of Hajj to fly out of Taif. We have made the request after this operator was told that you cannot use Taif for departure. Apparently, he has booked his Hajjis. Now, I don't know who's implicated and who's not implicated, so I need to make it very clear here that SAHUC will not facilitate Taif Airport because we did not ask for that when we signed the protocol. Number two, our mission visas has been cut. We used to get 60 people to go on the mission to help the Hajjis. They've brought us down to 25. Out of the 25, 13 is medical personnel. So technically we're left with 12 people. We got Medina, we got Makkah, we got Jeddah. It's going to be very difficult for us to facilitate Taif. And after telling this operator that he can't do that, he's done it, so he needs to face the consequences from a SAHUC perspective. After Hajj, we will sort that part of it out. Whether the ministry is going to give permission or not, we'll have to wait and see. If the permission is granted, and because lack of manpower, the operator will have to make sure that he is there to service his Hajjis if they're leaving from Taif. SAHUC will not be there. I want to make that very clear right here and now. Subject to us getting additional visas. If we do get visas to take more workers, then we will reconsider whether we're going to be on Taif Airport or not. The distance from Taif to Makkah and the distance from Jeddah to Taif is exactly the same, 78 kilometers. It's not a problem of the distance, it's a problem of facilitation. Now, why I mentioned that SAHUC members are available on your arrival and departure at both the airports, in Jeddah and Medina. Again, we are there to assist you and make the necessary arrangements before you arrive. As far as the busing is concerned, whether you're going by train, whether you're going by bus, or whether you're going to go to Makkah first or Medina first, whether you're going by plane, we basically try and make those arrangements before you arrive so that you spend minimum time. I must tell you, recently, the service levels at the airports have been jacked up absolutely phenomenally. When you walk into Jeddah, there's 80 counters that are open to facilitate. So alhamdulillah, the days of 12 and 14 and 15 hours is of the past. So within an hour, the Hajjis are out. So that's a great blessing. But SAHUC will be there to assist you and guide you. Again, our attitude is important. Be courteous to them. Believe you me, they will go out of their way to assist you and make you comfortable. They're not there to carry your bags. They're not there to push your wheelchair. They're there to tell you, maybe they will teach you how to push the wheelchair. Yeah. They'll tell you how to go and where you must go. That's our job. But don't expect us, because we have limited manpower, and then people expect, because this is SAHUC guy wearing a SAHUC bib, he must carry my bags and he must do. No, we don't do that. So I'm making that very clear. You need to do that yourself. And if you talk to the guy with a good approach, inshallah, he might go that extra mile. He'll also carry your hand for you and take you to the bus also. But if you're going to be aggressive, then you're going to get an aggressive response. You know, there's a very common saying in English. Maybe people won't like what I'm going to say. If you give kindness, you get back kindness. You give shit, you're going to get back shit. Now, people will say, I'm rude, you see. But that's the reality. That's exactly what happens. So let us be courteous. Let us be human beings. Then you will get the reciprocation of that type of attitude. So again, like I said, Jeddah, Medina, alhamdulillah, the airports are well taken care of. Our guys will be there. They will be there to assist you. There's nothing to worry. It's like, you know, when you go to another country and you find a guy speaking Afrikaans, how nice you feel. Hey, there's a bra of mine here now, you know. There's a South African of mine here. Or you see a guy with a South African skipper, you feel good. That's exactly how you will feel when you come to Makkah and you come to Medina. Especially if you're a first-time traveler, you feel there is a South African. The motto that SAHUC has, we will not leave any South African Haji in an allergy. If it means you're the only one guy there, we will stay there till you get to your final destination. That is a pledge, and that is a vow, and that is the commitment that we have from our mission members. So they will keep you as comfortable as possible. Never mind the circumstances. Never mind the situations. We've had issues where people were detained by the security intelligence. We didn't leave until they were cleared, or until they were imprisoned, or they got onto the flight. So that's a pledge we will give you. Inshallah, we will do that for you. So again, Medina airports, alhamdulillah, everything is fantastic. In the recent 2 years, we haven't used the Hajj terminal. That's a blessing of its own. The Hajj terminal in itself has been upgraded to a great extent, so there's no big difficulty also there. Last year, we only had 2 flights that left from Hajj terminal because the new airports have opened up and most of our Hajjis are coming with scheduled flights, so our Hajjis all leave from the new airport. The new airport is spacious, is smart, well managed, and inshallah, sometimes on Hajj time in the past, if you came into Jeddah airport, you would think you're on the Maidan of Arafat. That's how congested it used to be. Now, you will think, are we in Hajj? You don't see anybody. What's happening? They are so efficient that they move the Hajjis or the passengers into the relevant lounges, so when you come in, you think you're in another country. So alhamdulillah, that part of it has been taken care of. So nothing to fear, nothing to worry on both the arrivals and the departure. Coming to Medina, I'm not going to spend too much of time on Medina and Mecca because most of the hotels that the South Africans live in are comfortable. They're 3 stars and above, 4, 5, 6, and 7 stars. So there hasn't been any issues from an accommodation point of view. The only issue may be that one may be a little further than the other one. Now, while I'm talking on this, you know, there's a common saying here amongst our people. Hey, Hajj is bloody expensive, man. Hell, these SAHUC guys are knocking us left, right, and center, man. That's the perception. So I need to clear that perception. Why is it expensive for South Africans? South Africans don't want to stay next to the Haram. They want to stay in the Kaaba. If you want to stay in the Kaaba, there's a price you have to pay, my brothers and sisters. The property value around the Kaaba is 1 million riyals per square meter. So if you want to stay in Taqwa, and you want to stay in Hilton, and you want to stay in Hyatt Regency, and you want to stay in the Conrad, and you want to stay in the Marriott, you must pay the price. If you want a cheap Hajj, stay 5 kilometers away from the Haram. Which South African is prepared to do that? Anyone can stand up here and challenge me on that. Not a single one. We talk about Cape Townians that say that it's very difficult. You know, they make co-sisters for the whole year. I want to give you cite you one example last year. There was a budget package offered by an operator. Out of 1,200 people, brothers, understand me very clearly, only they sold 23 budget packages. What does it tell you? And that particular operator takes at least about 35% people from Cape Town. So he tells you South Africans want to live in luxury. South Africans want to live with their wives. Wife, not wives. Because you've got wives, you must have 2 rooms. But nevertheless, that's what South Africans want to do. So then if you want to live like that, don't complain about the prices. Please, don't complain. We are asking for that. You are causing the demand for the place. So at the end of the day, you still have a choice. If you want to make a cheap Hajj, stay 5 kilometers like the Pakistanis and the Indians and the Bengalis and the Nigerians do, then you get Hajj cheap. But no, we don't want to do that. So this business or this myth that Hajj is expensive is actually a rumor or a fantasy that we have in our minds. Hajj is not expensive. We make Hajj expensive because we want luxury. So khair, be it as it may be, the hotels are perfect. There's no issues. That's why I can stand here in confidence that inshallah we'll have no problems in Medina and in Mecca because the hotels are fairly satisfactory from a South African perspective. There's a transport issue. The buses, alhamdulillah, the buses have been upgraded. They're all aircon buses, new buses. They have put in new regulations. You can only have certain year buses on the road. So generally the busing also has become a sort of a streamlined situation. Unforeseen circumstances, either the puncture or there's a breakdown that is totally beyond our control. I think even when we have a puncture, they'll blame SAHUC. That you know, the SAHUC, they cause the puncture also. That's unfortunately the mindset of our people. But be it as it may be, that part of it, alhamdulillah, we are quite satisfied. And every 50 kilometers between Jeddah and Medina, they have backup buses. So in the event the bus breaks down, they communicate. Within a couple of, I wouldn't say minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, the other bus will be there and they will take you away and get you to your destination. So those type of eventualities you need to understand and accept. And inshallah, we hope and pray that we can overcome those challenges. We have a medical facility in Medina. I think Dr. Razia, who's the head of our medical, will talk about it. I'm not going to touch the medical because then I'm going to be impeding on her time and her portfolio. So she will give you a better explanation from a medical perspective. But yes, we have a facility in Medina, we'll have a facility in Makkah, and we will have a facility in Azizia as well, and on the 5 days of the Mashayir. And she will elaborate more on it as to what we offer and what we don't offer. Now, what I want to concentrate on is Azizia and the 5 days. 7-star, 5-star, 3-star. When you come to Azizia, it's 0 stars. There's no stars at all there. And then when you go to Muzdalifah, there's 1 million stars. You'll just see stars, that's all you see. So be it as it may be, when you come to Azizia, that's where the challenge starts. Now, our recommendation has been in the past that, you know what, young couples, sometimes even old couples, if you have the financial capacity, try and take your own room. Because a lot of frustration creeps in between husband and wife when they can't see each other. You'll find them coming in the lobby and they're screaming on top of each other's voices. They say in Gujarati, dukhe ka ne kareka. The pain is somewhere else and they take out their frustration somewhere else. And we've seen it in Azizia. So those who can afford it, those who are in the financial capacity, try and take a couple's room. It comes at a price. If you can't, then you are going to be sharing the facility, which is 4 men and 4 ladies. There's always challenges with that. Because one wants the aircon, the other one doesn't want the aircon. One gets up 3 o'clock for tahajjud, one doesn't sleep the whole night. The other one wants to be first in Fajr, the other one wants to come to Fajr after Jamaat is finished. So they always have the squeal and couples. But you're going to have to work around that situation and see how you can fit yourself in that, because unfortunately, that is how you're going to live in Azizia. There's very few, maybe 2 or 3 hotels that I can talk about that will meet up to the South African mindset. Not the Haji's mindset, the South African mindset. So generally, all the other hotels are going to be below par. You need to understand that. You know, there's a very common saying, or good saying in travel. Until the Haji doesn't have a shower, use the toilet, and dress up, he's never happy. Once he does that, then alhamdulillah, he gets used to the accommodation. I don't want to use the words because just now you're going to say, I'm not absolutely rude. But be it as it may be. So Azizia is going to be a challenge. I'm telling you that from here. Right now, you must understand that. And the reason we moved to Azizia is because of the pricing factor, the price factor. Because once the 25th of Zil Qaida sets in, the prices start rocking up. When the 1st of Zil Hajj sets in, it gets double. Currently now, the last 10 days of Ramadan, one night is 15,000 rands. So you can imagine what the price is going to be in Hajj. So it becomes expensive. In order to make it affordable, in order to make it manageable, we then move to Azizia. Okay, from Azizia, on the 8th of Zil Hajj, we need to go to Mina, which is the 5 days. And I need to talk extensively about the 5 days because there are tremendous challenges on the 5 days. And you know, a lot of Hajis have come back and said, SAHUC didn't tell us this, SAHUC didn't say that, and SAHUC didn't do this. So I want to take this opportunity that I'm going to tell you the way it is on Mina. First of all, there's a constraint of space. They have allocated 1 square meter per Haji in Mina. So in 1 square meter, you must sleep there, you must keep your bag there, your mattress is going to be there, and it's fairly tight. When you get up at night to go to the toilet, you're probably going to have to walk on somebody's face, or somebody's legs, or somebody's hands. So you're going to have to maneuver yourself with absolute caution. So that is the first. Every year, for the last 15 years that I am on the mission, the first day on Mina is a catastrophe. Catastrophe. Why? Lack of space. We have taken certain measures, which I will explain to you, hopefully to alleviate that. There are many reasons why this happened, but inshallah we're trying to work on that. We have brought it to the notice of the authorities that some of the security measures are not good enough to protect the Hajis who have paid for that facility. Now, on the 5 days, there are two camps. We have the Camp D and we have the Camp A. I want to make this very clear. Camp D is a setup that SAHUC facilitates. SAHUC negotiates. SAHUC decides where we want to go as far as Camp D is concerned. Camp A is known as what we call special services. Special services is a service that provided by the service provider as an option. You must decide whether you want. We have absolutely no jurisdiction in Camp A. So if things go wrong in Camp A, there's very little that we can do. In Camp D, yes, I'm not saying we can do everything, but our presence is there and we can talk to the authorities to resolve issues that can be resolved. Certain issues we can't resolve. So you need to understand, again, the word sacrifice comes into play. Again, SAHUC is a facilitator. Those are the service providers. We can take it to them and we fight. You won't believe me. If you people have to sit in one of the meetings that we have after Hajj with the service providers, you would then really say that this guy is off his head. That's the type of fights we have. Not physical fights, but discussions, robust discussions to sort of make it known to them that we are not happy with the services that they have provided or the infrastructure. But again, I want to tell you, there's certain things we can sort out. Number two, the toilets, the ablution block is going to be a problem. For 5,000 people, they give you 20 toilets. 5,000 people, they give you 20 toilets. Out of the 20 toilets, 4 toilets are high toilets. The balance are all squat pens. So all those people that are not using or don't know how to use squat pens, start practicing. Start practicing from now that you know how to utilize the squat pen, because those are going to be the challenges both in Mina and Arafat. What the future is going to be, Allah knows best. We have made our recommendations, we have spoken about it, but I can't see it happening immediately. They are busy revamping Mina to a great extent. They're putting up 5-story buildings, but that will take another 10 years before it happens. So currently, we have to do what we have. So yes, your ablution block is a problem. Your wuzu is a problem. There's no seats to sit. You stand and you make wuzu. Our ladies have a major challenge in Mina. There isn't adequate parda facilities. And we have brought this to the notice of the Hujjaaj. The Arabs don't want to show their women to us, but they want to see our women. So we've told them, this is totally unacceptable. You need to provide adequate parda facilities, because when the ladies are making wuzu, it's only but natural their body get exposed. Hands get exposed, legs get exposed. And we've asked them this year, and they've given us the undertaking that they will facilitate that. That is why I made a statement on Radio Al-Ansar, and somebody took objection. And what was the statement? I said, Hajj is not for sissies. Hajj is not for sissies. Now I want to tell you where I learned this also. We had a musalli in our masjid known as Brother Ibrahim Desai. He is passed on now. He was about 80 years old. Now obviously as you get older, you become slower, you have pains and aches and what have you and what not. And he used to meet in namaz, after namaz, and he used to tell me, you know what, old age is not for sissies. You need to be a man to go through all this that you have to endure in old age. It's a very similar situation on Mina and Arafat. You need to be a man, or you need to be a strong woman to be able to undergo those challenges. So understand, it is not said in a derogatory manner. It is said in a manner that we need to prepare ourselves, that it's going to be a difficult journey, it's going to be tough out there, and you've got to be ready for it. That is why we have made all of you sign an indemnity that you are physically fit to undertake this journey without help. And if you are not fit, you must speak to your operator. And your operator must give you an undertaking in writing that he will help you. If you don't have it in writing, I'm telling you, you are heading for trouble. You're heading for trouble because there are very few people that are prepared to sacrifice their ibadat to push you. So we have made that very clear. I don't know how many of you have read that indemnity, but there was an indemnity that you had to tick and sign that you are capable and able to perform your duties specifically on Mina and Arafat. I want to make it very clear, those areas are not wheelchair friendly. They are not disabled friendly. So you're going to have challenges. Arafat is up and down. The staircases, there's no ramps. It's difficult. We have to carry the Hajis. To load the Haji on the bus, we have to pick them up with the wheelchair. There's no space to put the wheelchair in the bus. Although we have requested all this for future, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. They have given us the undertaking. They've got wheelchair-friendly buses. We hope and pray that they will provide this to provide for those people that are elderly. But again, I want to reiterate, it is a difficult situation and you've got to be physically prepared for that. Now, sometimes like last year, we had a problem where the food was a bit delayed. Ramadan will keep 12 hours of Roza. We won't have a problem. On Hajj or in a normal day, if food is late for 1, 2, 3 hours, it's like Qiyamah has dawned upon us. And then the Hajis go. All of a sudden, the diabetic guy is going to die. You know, everybody is in a frenzy. But I don't prepare the food. Yes, I can go and talk to the caterer. I can go and talk to the people and say, you know what, this is not right, man. We had challenges last year where the water was cut off for 2 hours in Mina. That also SAHUC now. All of a sudden, SAHUC became the water affairs of Makkah. SAHUC must now find out why the water is cut off. Yes, we can find out, but we can't fix it. We have to wait for the authorities. Now, the other challenge we had, people had to go to toilet, so they used the drinking water bottles to go and make istinja. Fair, no problem. What do we South Africans do? We use the water and we throw the bottle in the toilet. We won't even say, let's bring it out. No, we just leave it there. The next guy goes, he decides that bottle in his way, he kicks it. Where does he kick it? Into the toilet pan. What happens? The toilet gets blocked. Now SAHUC must go and unblock it. Come on, brothers and sisters. We need to take a little bit of responsibility. We need to keep those toilets in a manner that you would like to find it. It is disgusting to talk about these things in a roadshow, but this is the reality. After we've used the toilet, is it difficult for other people to use? I want to give you an example on the plane. If you go on a flight that is populated with Muslims, after 1 hour you can't use those toilets. It is messed. The water is on the floor, the tissue papers are lying all over. We just have no consideration. Why? Why is it like that? How long does it take you to bend your back and just wipe the floor? I know we have to make wudu. I know the water is going to spill. Those are realities. But you know, I mentioned the story yesterday. There was a pious person that used to go to toilet and used to take a long time in the toilet. So his close associates thought maybe, you know what, he's sick, he's not well. So they wanted to assist him to find out, has he got some sickness, whether he's suffering from piles or prostrate or whatever the case may be. So when he came back, he says, no, I use the toilet for 2 minutes and I clean it for 5 minutes. So that the next person who comes after me must not find difficulty in using. That is the Muslim's ethics. That is the Muslim, how he conducts himself. So it's exactly the same thing we have to do, whether we are in the plane, whether we are in Arafat, whether we are in Muzdalifah, or whether we are in Mina. Let's keep the place in a manner that we will find. I want anybody to tell me here that you are comfortable using a dirty toilet. Anybody can stand up and tell me he's happy using a dirty toilet. Then I will tell him, in Mina, make all the toilets dirty because the guys are happy to use it. Nobody likes it. To clean your mess, it's easy for you than for somebody else to come and clean your mess. And these are simple principles of deen. As Muslims, it's not something that should be told to you. That is the way we should conduct ourselves. Now, these are the challenges that you're going to face. There is no flushing system. South Africans complain, I go to the toilet, I can't flush the thing. Baba, there's no flushing there. The system that they operate with is water that runs through all the toilets underground, and it takes all the dirt, and that water rotates and comes back. So there is no flushing there. You understand? So don't come and ask for things that are not available, because SAHUC can't even facilitate that. But that again is the challenge. The food, like I told you, we will endeavor to make sure that we try and facilitate a menu that's easy prepared and will be on time. Now I know there are people that will come and say, you know, we're diabetic and we want diabetic food and we want different types of food. We are taking that also into consideration. But again, it's a challenge for us. You got 2,000 people there. Now how many is diabetic and how many is not diabetic? We're using assumptions. So we're going to try. The other thing on Mina, we need to share our tents with other nationalities. Now in the past we had Nigerians, we had Kenyans, we had people from Niger. It was a major problem because there was a difference in our cultures. So we have made a request to the Muassasa that facilitate us with people with similar cultural values. And Alhamdulillah, they've given us the Mauritian brothers that share our tents. And a lot of the problems that we had with the other nationalities has been overcome. But again, we need to understand we have to share. If we're not going to share, it's going to be very difficult. Many of us South Africans, as much as we are in a new democracy, so-called new democracy, we still have hatred for other nationalities within our lifestyle. And I will prove it to you as we go on. One of the Hajis made a statement in Camp A. And that's another thing you must remember for those people that are going to Camp A. Camp A is open to anybody and everybody. In Camp D, we are together, South Africans and the Mauritians. In Camp A, Nigerians, Bengalis, Pakistanis, Indians, all share one platform, one area. You can't come and tell me I can't share with that one and I can't share with that one. And I told that Haji, what are you going to do on the day of Qiyamah? Are you going to tell Allah Ta'ala, you know, this is a guy from Nigeria. I can't stand next to him, put me somewhere else. You're going to have to learn. These are your brothers. Whichever way you want to look at it. Even when we had the invasion in Arafat a couple of years ago, the problem was not the space. They won't tell you that. The problem was, I can't stay with a Niger. How must I share with him? It's a wrong attitude, brothers and sisters. What guarantee we have that Allah is going to accept us and He might go to Jannah before us? So we need to change our mindset and our attitude. You need to be equal to everybody. Make khidmat of Him, He make your khidmat. Who knows? Allah might just like that act of yours and use that as a means of giving you a Maqbool Hajj and entering you into Jannatul Firdaus. That is what we're going for Hajj for. Again, let me cut it short. Then you're going to go to Arafat. Same problems. Now in Arafat last year, they gave us mattresses. And the mattresses created a major problem. Because the facility can put about 300, 400 people. When they put the mattresses inside, it reduced the amount of people to 100. And you know, we South Africans, we're very considerate, you know. So if I came there first, I decide to take 3 mattresses. I can't care a damn where the other guy is going to get a mattress. So when you go there, the guys are all complaining, where's my mattress? Where's this? Where's that? And yet we counted before we came in. So this year we told the authorities, Arafat is not a place to sleep. Arafat is the place to make dua. So we don't want mattresses. There's going to be no mattresses in Arafat, in a South African camp. It's going to be a plain carpet. You sit and you make ibadat. You ask all the pious people, all the ulama, they will tell you, from the time wukuf sets in, up to the time of Maghrib, engage in dua. That is the ultimate purpose of Arafat. I'm not saying don't read Quran. I'm not saying don't make tasbih. I'm not saying read those long, long du'as. What I'm saying is the primary object of Arafat is dua. Ask, beg of Allah. Ask for forgiveness. Ask for what your requirements are for you, your family, your children, and the Ummah at large, specifically for Palestine. Do that on Arafat. But again, you're going to have the very similar problems like we have in Mina. Space is an issue. Toilets is an issue. So unfortunately, there's no Italian tiles. There's no what you call it porcelain tiles. It's just a normal cement floor. You have to make do. Finish and clear. You have to learn to accept that, and that's the way it's going to be. Number two, the other problem that we had in Arafat was water. Last year we had a shortage of water. There was a problem with the truck coming in, so with the result, from Asr up till 2 o'clock, we didn't have water. But you know what was very, very, very disturbing? When all the Hajis leave, we as the mission, we do what we call a sweep. We go and clean up all the tents. We'll find bags, we'll find umbrellas, we'll find purses, we'll find glasses. You'll be surprised what we find. But the worst part was the amount of water that we found that the people basically drank that much and just threw the bottle away. Some of them drank 5 sips, some of them 2 sips, some of them half, and they left it behind. All the water bottles that we collected, we could have fed the entire South African contingent with that water. Why are we doing this? Why are we abusing the ni'mat of Allah? When you don't have it, then you appreciate it. Now, by that time, the Hajis were gone. So please, also this year, we've told the authorities that, you know what, give us smaller bottles. Because somehow or the other, our guys don't seem to understand. If you are 2 brothers, share that 1 bottle. It's difficult for me to drink from there because I don't know whether a man has drank from it or a woman has drank from it. But if you are 2 guys, if you're opening up a bottle, share it amongst 2 people so we don't waste the water. Wastage is a big, big problem on the 5 days. So that is why I'm bringing this to your notice, that water was a challenge. And we hope and pray that this year we don't have a challenge with that and we can hopefully facilitate the Hujjaaj to a great extent. Coming to Muzdalifah, there is no water whatsoever in Muzdalifah. Nobody sells water also in Muzdalifah. So you must try and take 2 or 3 bottles with you as backup from Arafat so that in the event you need water in Muzdalifah, you can facilitate yourself. So I'm pre-warning you as far as that is concerned. We try to make arrangement for water in Muzdalifah. It is a very difficult logistical nightmare to actually get the water there. That is why even the vendors are not allowed to come there and sell water. Because if a vendor can come in there, he'll become a millionaire in that one night. Believe you me, because there is no water available there. The ablution facilities are just as bad, even worse. So if you can relieve yourself before you leave Arafat, Alhamdulillah, and control yourself till you go to Mina, Alhamdulillah. If you can't, unfortunately, I'm warning you, you are going into a swimming pool. Not a toilet, you're going into a swimming pool. You'll have to tiptoe to walk into those toilets. That is the condition of that toilet. I try my best to avoid using the toilets, specifically in Muzdalifah. But sometimes when nature calls, there's nothing you can do about it. But these are the challenges that you're going to have. The other aspect that I want to talk about is on the 5 days on Camp D, we have what we call the Taraddud system, which is a shuttle program system. The shuttle program system has worked very well over the years. Last year was the first year we had a challenge. In the previous years, by 9 o'clock, the last bus would leave Arafat and our Hajis used to be in Muzdalifah. Last year, we got the last bus left at 2:30. 2:30 in the morning. We were scared. We were actually worried. Are the Hajis going to make it in time for wukuf in Muzdalifah? Alhamdulillah. Summa alhamdulillah. Allah made it a reality and we got in good time to be able to facilitate the Hujjaaj in Muzdalifah. But again, these are challenges. Now, for many years, from the time the Taraddud system, the shuttle program system has worked, that was the first year in 10 years that there was a problem. So I cannot be negative about it. And I can tell you in the past, to go from Arafat to Muzdalifah, it used to take people between 9 to 12 hours. For a 12-kilometer route. With the shuttle program, alhamdulillah, 20 minutes you are there. Because they have created a road that is specifically only for the bus. No other traffic is allowed there. But last year, I think they underprovided buses, and there was a big jam up in Muzdalifah, which created a bit of an issue for the buses to come around, because one bus actually makes 3 trips to facilitate the Hujjaaj. We hope and pray, inshallah, that this year we can overcome that challenge and we don't have the same situation of last year. What I want to tell you, as SAHUC and as the Ministry of Hajj, we really don't want anything to go wrong. Do you really think the ministry wants things to go wrong? Is that what we think? Wallahi, they work day in, day out from one Hajj to the other Hajj to facilitate the Hujjaaj of the world. But what is in their control, they can facilitate. What is out of their control, they can't facilitate. So please, brothers and sisters, let us be patient. Let us be cognizant of these challenges. And let me tell you also something, that this whole facilitation of Hajj is a living miracle. Nobody, even the West, cannot comprehend what happens on the 5 days. 3 million people moving from Makkah, Azizia to Mina, Mina to Arafat, Arafat to Muzdalifah, Muzdalifah back to Mina, Mina to Makkah, with minimal incident. Minimal. There is incidences, there is challenges, but absolutely nothing to talk about. They can't comprehend this. That how does this happen? It is only the doing of Allah. It is only Almighty makes this a reality. Ask those people who prepare for World Cup. How many years they have to prepare? 5 years before they decide where the World Cup is going to take place. And then still when the World Cup comes, they still got hitches and glitches. This is not 5 years, this is every year. So believe you me, let us understand the mechanics. Let us understand and let us be complementary to the situations. And inshallah Aziz, I'm pretty confident that we can overcome those challenges that are going to be facing us. And if we do have those challenges, think of it in this way, that Allah is probably testing me. And if I sacrifice and I become persevered of this issue, it might just be the means of acceptance. If we do that, inshallah, I'm pretty confident that we will basically overcome our challenges. I think the others, the pelting times, we have the Jamarat pelting program. We have already put our request in that we want to pelt after Zawal in the latter part of the afternoon. Because you must also remember that the heat factor this year is 50 plus, because we're going into peak summer. Our Hajis must understand that you have to hydrate yourself. Now, because of the facilities, the toilet facilities, many of our ladies don't want to use the toilet because they're frightened or they're scared or they can't stomach the odor. Now, is it better for you to use the toilet or to be there and you can't make ibadat? If you are dehydrated, you are going to be a patient. And if you're a patient, you're not going to do justice to your day in Arafat. So Hajis, we request you, please hydrate yourself. Very important. Inshallah, the Jamarat, there is people from SAHUC and there are people from the service providers that will guide us. It's 2.8 kilometers from Camp D to Jamarat. A lot of people say it's a hell of a distance. But believe you me, when you go in a group, you don't even feel that walk. Camp A is very close to the Jamarat. But what you need to understand, going to the Jamarat is 500 meters. When you have to come back to your camp, is 1.8 kilometers. Because they have different routes to go and different routes to come back. I want all those people to understand who are in Camp A. SAHUC doesn't take responsibility for non-deliverance in that particular camp. It is a service that is provided as an option by the service provider. Now, if you're a South African, currently, we've got 29 South Africans out of 2,500 that have chosen Camp A. They're not going to prepare curry khichdi there. They're not going to prepare dar khawu there. They're going to prepare their style of food. Then they tell you, you know what, this is not for our palate. Well, tough luck. You got to make do. Yes, they got a buffet system there. They got 50 people that will use one toilet. They're going to be providing beds there. You don't have to sleep on a mattress. All those luxuries. But did you hear the amount? What is costing them? 12,800 riyals in opposing to 5,500 riyals. Times it by 5. And technically, brothers and sisters, from my experience, it's for one day. Just for one day. Because you don't find South Africans on a second and a third day in Mina. They all got excuses and reasons to go to Azizia. Some to go and shower, some to go and use the toilet, some to go and have the meal. You know, the Hanafis got a leeway. They must report back into Mina before Subh Sadiq. The Shafis have to be back by Maghrib time. So the Shafis are forced to come back to Mina. But the Hanafis, they come for a couple of hours, pelt, and they've gone back to Azizia. So technically for the first day, for one day, you have to go and pay 12,800 riyals. I don't know, I haven't lost my mind as yet. So I will never pay that. But yes, that facility is available. But again, I want to reiterate, it is something that is between the Haji, the operator, and the service provider. Last year we had major challenges there, and the Hujjaaj basically wanted to claim a refund from SAHUC. Why? Because SAHUC didn't tell them. Now I'm telling you, I don't know what excuse is going to be next. What we didn't do for them to come and do a refund. But be it as it may be, I've made this very clear and very simple. Yes, Chem D, we facilitate. But again, what I told you beginning, that we are subjected to the Hajj ministry and the service providers. We will fight. We will fight tooth and nail for the Hajj. But there are some things that we can resolve immediately, some things we can't resolve immediately. Last year when the toilet was blocked, we reported it at 8:30 in the morning. The plumber came at 10 o'clock at night. Now, what do I do? If I have the tools, I will unblock it. And this is the challenge that I have given to the service provider on last Hajj, that give me the cleaning material, I will clean it. Me and my team will clean the toilets. We have asked them this year, every hour, we want the toilets to be mopped. We want the toilets to be sprayed down. They have agreed. But they say the proof lies in the taste of the pudding, isn't it? The pudding may look very nice, very beautifully decorated, nuts and almonds and kaju and everything. When you taste it, it's either butter or it's sweet or it's nice. So we'll have to wait and see whether they keep up to their word. But yes, we have addressed all the challenges that we've had. And believe you me, we don't want anything to go wrong. We want every Haji to come back and say, Alhamdulillah, the Hajj was well facilitated and everybody played their role. Everybody played their part. You know, I'm going to end off with one incident, and I want the people to understand. The intention is a very powerful thing. The intention is more powerful than the action. And if we understand that, believe you me, you'll overcome all challenges. But when the intention is wrong, if you think you're going for a holiday, and I repeat, Hajj is not for sissies. Take it in whichever you want to. But I'm telling you, that's the reality. You have to be strong, mentally, physically, and spiritually, to be able to undertake this journey. And if you have that, Inshaa Allah Aziz, there isn't a challenge that we will never overcome. Never, inshallah. I'm confident. And we have been using those toilets for the last 15 years. If you come to my toilet, it's a smart toilet. But when I go there, I make do what is there. And that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. Forget about our palatial homes and our comforts, because the ultimate objective is to acquire the pleasure of Allah. In order to acquire the pleasure of Allah, we have to make sacrifices. In order to make sacrifices, we need to persevere, we need to adjust to the circumstances and the conditions, and I make an earnest dua that Allah Ta'ala grant you all a Hajj Mabrur, a Hajj Maqbool, and inshallah, when I do meet you there, or when you come back after Hajj, you will say shukran jazilan for whatever you have told us and for service that we have provided. With all the criticism that is here in South Africa about SAHUC, it's like almost certain that SAHUC is going to Jahannam. From the way the people condemn us on social media and public platforms and what have you. But maybe that is a thing for us. The other day, there was a clip, I'm sure most of you must have seen this clip, where Imam Sudais was talking about the issues on the Haram, where he says, you know, people mustn't come there and protest, and obviously about the Palestinian issue. So one of our detractors puts a comment below that. I wonder what SAHUC has to say about this. Now, what is SAHUC going to do about Imam Sudais' viewpoint? But you see the mindset, absolutely skewed. So anything related to, if they're opening up casinos, what has SAHUC got to say about the casinos? We don't make the rules. We are basically facilitating the requirement of the Ummah, and specifically the South African Hujjaaj. We will continue, and inshallah, we will do our best and endeavor to do the best. And this is a commitment and pledge I'm giving you, and my team gives you that same commitment and pledge, that inshallah Aziz, we will be there at every step, at every way, and everywhere where we can make your journey a pleasurable one and a one that you will remember. Jazakumullah khair wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Dr. Razia will give a small talk about the medical part, and inshallah after that we'll have a question and answer session. Jazakallah.
Dr. Razia? I was up, Hajj not for sissies. I saw some guys rolling up there, checking their biceps, and you know, each time you mentioned that. Just to let you know, we have a Fit for Hajj program. It happens in different parts of the country. I think it happens in Lenasia, it happens in Amarentia as well. It happens every weekend on a Saturday normally. I think because we have the Hajj Awareness Programme on Saturday, so it's happening tomorrow. Hafiz Qasim Katrada is here. You can speak to him at the back of how you can be part of it. There's no cost to it. There's absolutely no cost to that. You can be part of that program, and it's to get us into the best shape for the 5 days of Hajj. Dr. Razia Khan is the head of the SAHUC Medical Mission, and she will share with you some key information.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your attendance, and hopefully I will get your attention. Hassan has already congratulated you and said your journey started the day you were accredited, and I firmly believe that. So, congratulations to all accredited pilgrims who are embarking on the best in a lifetime journey. Let it be the best, please. Make it a beautiful, memorable, and enjoy your Hajj. My name is Razia, and I represent the medical team of SAHUC, and we strive and genuinely strive to the best of our ability to help with your medical issues. I'm going to just start talking on how to keep yourself healthy before you encounter any medical problems. A lot of it has been covered by Hafiza. And just a few tips what you do to start preparing from here. A few tips on preparing for good health before your journey starts. By booking for your Hajj trip, your journey has already commenced. You need to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically now, not when you start the day you could leave for the airport. Hajj requires effort, and you have to be emotionally, mentally, and physically stable. You're going to hear me say the word chronic medication repeatedly, and the reason why I say that is when you neglect taking your chronic medication, that's when you're going to encounter problems in the kingdom. So first and foremost, those of you that are on chronic medication, please, please be very diligent with your chronic medication. Especially for people who are hypertensive, diabetic, asthmatic, epilepsy, mental illness, arthritis, and whatever else there are, the rare complications. Start walking to keep fit or get fitter. Hopefully you all are fit, but you need to get more fitter because it is a challenge. Practice walking with shoes or tackies or whatever will keep you walking comfortably. Buy your walking shoes now, please. Walk with it in your house, your yard, going for shopping. Please, and I say please, do not purchase your walking shoes a week, a day, or even before your flight. Believe you me, I've seen somebody bringing a pair of new shoes for a Haji. They wore it, came to us at the clinic in Medina with swollen feet because they had not worn the shoes in. SAHUC has a Fit for Hajj walking session once a week in the weekend at the Lenasia Stadium. Those that can have the time and can attend, please make a conscious effort to do so. And this Fit for Hajj group is run by qualified personnel who also offer advice while you're walking. It also gives you the opportunity to interact with other Hajis and gives you the incentive to look forward to your Hajj. It's a vibe. You start looking forward to it. If you are unable to attend, walk in your yard, your locality, local park, wherever possible, but get used to walking. The temperature in Saudi will be extremely high, so that can tire you out. So hydration and walking is important. Take good care of your feet, especially people that are diabetics. You need good foot care. We have found many diabetics don't go and see a podiatrist, and we come there, they've got soles that really are neglected, and these are the ones that are very difficult to treat because they don't respond well to treatment. You need to soak your foot in salt water to keep your feet soft and supple and avoid blisters, which is one of our major complaints, especially diabetics. Expect your feet to swell while flying. Soak your feet in cold water and elevate it as soon as possible when you reach your hotel room. When traveling or walking in Saudi, be it going to the harams or ziyarat, wear protective gear like sunglasses and hats to avoid intense heat. A comment was made in one of the past trips that I suggested people not to go to the haram for Zohar. And that's not what I said. I said that if you do want to go for Zohar, go early. The mataf is hot. Wear the proper clothing because you come out from the heat, you go into the aircon haram, and you're bound to get sick. Carry water and snacks with you to keep you hydrated and energized when you're going out for ziyarah. Keep a spray bottle to spray on your face. Please don't exhaust yourself in the first leg of the journey. You need to conserve your energies for the 5 days of Hajj, and that is what this journey of yours is all about. Rest as much as possible because your sleep-wake cycle is disturbed. The day becomes your resting time and the night becomes time for your ibadah. Continue with your chronic medication. I think this is the 3rd time I've made this comment. Mentally, be prepared for hurdles. Hafiz Saab said that plenty occasions. Just be patient. Go with the flow. People that have had the least expectancy from their trip have come back having the best experience of a lifetime. Emotionally, it can be very overwhelming. There's crowds, There's queues, there's people you don't know, there's a language challenge that can be very frustrating. So try to maintain a calm demeanor so that you can maximize your ibadah. Please don't let little things irritate you. Mentally prepare yourself to be emotionally calm and spiritually effective. I'm going to say that again. Mentally. Prepare yourself to be emotionally calm and spiritually effective. Emotions run high just before Hajj, and that's what Hafizah touched on. Because do you know why? The Hajis are overexhausted. They've overdone it in Medina, in Mecca, the ziyarah, and most of all, shopping. So rest in Azizia is crucial to be well and energetic for the 5 days of Hajj. Remember, the heat is exhausting, so rest and hydrate whenever possible. The SAHUC Medical Clinic is a primary health care facility, and we treat acute conditions like aches and pains, flu symptoms, gastroenteritis, constipation. You'll be shocked how many people come to us with a problem because our diet here is completely different to the diet that we are there. We treat lots of blisters and sprains. We treat acute asthmatic attacks, and etc. Basic conditions is what we treat, and those are the conditions that you would go to your local GP back here in South Africa. All our team members are well-experienced professionals. Please don't underestimate our team members. They do the best. They've got experience, and they will not let you down. If you have an issue, address it. We can see how we can help you. We are not a specialized entity. That is, we do not treat conditions like newly diagnosed hypertension in the kingdom, or diabetes, epilepsy, mental illness, cardiac disease. These fall under chronic conditions. But if you're hypertensive, being on medication, having a difficult day, want your blood pressure to be monitored, by all means, we will do that for you. And so goes with your blood sugar. Please carry enough chronic medications for chronic conditions. And I personally suggest that you carry an extra month's supply in case of unforeseen circumstances. Health matters beyond our scope. I refer to the Saudi hospitals. Please understand, we are limited. So what is beyond our scope, we will refer you to hospitals. It can be a long wait, and we do not communicate with the hospital doctors once we hand you over to the hospital. That's not our jurisdiction. They know, once we refer you, they know what to do to you. Dialysis patients need to inform SAHUC well before with the full medical report so that necessary arrangements can be made in Saudi before you land. So your appointment's made and they've got a record and they're expecting you. Once you come there, you don't have your medical records, it's going to be a tough one. Hajis on chronic medication should please have a list of the medications they're on and preferably a letter from the treating doctor. Ladies' issues have to be sorted out by their doctors before coming for Hajj. You come on Hajj, like I said, we're limited in our resources. Please try and sort your problem out. We will help you if you run into problems. We'll do our best. Please realize we do not provide dental health. Hajis who wear dentures, please carry with you a dental glue. Please do not use Bostik and all these other things to put your dentures on. It's not going to work. We do not provide wheelchairs. Please arrange with your tour operator. Food in Saudi Arabia is very refined and high in carbohydrates, salt, and sugar. Choose your food wisely when buying out. This is a special request for diabetics and hypertensive, because you want to enjoy the food and then you run into trouble. I cannot emphasize enough on the toilet situation. Thank you, Hafizab, but I have to also add just 1 or 2 points, not long. Hafizab has said it in great detail, and I appreciate that he covered things that I really didn't want to cover. Please leave the toilets in the condition that you would want it to be in if you had to use the toilet. I don't understand the need for you to take bottles in the toilet. The water on the floor of the toilet is from the house. Fine if you want to take a bottle. That's your choice. But it'll cost you nothing to pick up that same bottle and literally take that bottle and put it in a bin that's not even 2 steps away. There's bins all over. That's the least we can do. The toilets that are designated to us are our responsibility to keep clean. Again, please don't leave water bottles in the toilet. Just before you leave the toilet, turn around and see whether everything is okay. We do have problems. Remember, these toilets lay vacant for about the rest of the year and are in use only for 3 to 5 days of the year. I have personally seen the cleaners come and clean the toilets. The best time to see how these cleaners clean the toilet is when everybody goes to Muzdalifah. And I have personally cleaned the toilets myself. I had a SAHUC jacket on, and this one lady saw me and she said, "SAHUC?" I said, "How can I help you?" She says to me, "Clean the toilets." So this is what we encounter. So in total, and ending, SAHUC wishes all future 2024 Hujjaaj a beautiful and a spiritually fulfilled Hajj, Inshaa Allah. Jazakallah khair for your attention. Assalamu alaikum.
Shukran, Dr. Azizia. I think some key information with regards to the medication. If there's any medication that is chronic medication that you need, please ensure that you have it with you, and also let the operator know of medication that you may require on that side and check with them. On a lighter note, and I think stories we hear from Hafiz Ismail Kuvadia year in and year out when they return from the kingdom. Sometimes you get Ghulam and Fatima, and after Salah, Fatima is pulling Ghulam by in Medina. They're going to, because Nali Ben sent a message, so they must go to Taiba Center to get the cheap abayas. So they walk to Taiba Center, and then Mariam Kala sent a message to say, no, go to Kuba Road. So they walk to Kuba Road to get even more abayas, and now they can't afford the taxi fare back, so they start walking back to the haram or to the hotel, and you see Ghulam Bhai carrying 10 packets, like he's carrying 10 bags of stones for the Jamarat, and it's just Medina. And then you get to Makkah, and then after Salah, Fatima is pulling a Ghulam to the Zamzam towers, and then they heard, no, go to the Hayat Mall, it's even cheaper. Then the operator arranges a trip to Cornish and Jeddah, so then they do that late night drive to Cornish, and in Cornish they spend a few hours, and then they come back, and then they go to Azizia. And Azizia, then, Ghulam's sister also sent a message because she don't want to be missing out anything, so she sent a message. And now they're going to Makkah Mall in Azizia, and somebody told him the Skechers shop is very cheap here, and this abaya store is cheap here, and electronic store is cheap there, and come the 5 days of Hajj, where you're supposed to be the most fit, Ghulam Bhai is finished, Fatima Bhai got corns on her feet, there's blisters, the shoes don't fit, and SAHUC is to blame, and they need a wheelchair. And she looks at Ghulam Bhai to help her, and that poor man, he looks like he's finished already. So, my brothers, the point of it all is that, and sisters, is that do your shopping, but pace yourselves. Pace yourselves, in that the pinnacle of Hajj is Arafah. And so when we go to Mina, Muzdalifah, Arafah, or Mina, Arafah, Muzdalifah, you should be in the most prime condition. I remember when I was Hajj, I saw some young men, fit alhamdulillah, and they went for, what's that, vitamin B shot, what's that shot? B12, vitamin B12. So they all said, we're going to do the walking Hajj. And they all went for the vitamin B12 shot. And, there was queues at the SAHUC clinic. And so they wanted to do the walking Hajj. No, we're going to do it, under all the gusto, the energy, alhamdulillah. And I felt, should I was doubting myself. I saw these young guys. I took the bus. So these guys took the B12, and after the first, to Mina was fine. Mina to Arafat was battling. Arafat to Muzdalifah, they just made it in time. So, and Hafizah always reminds us of this, and I think this time he didn't mention it. Hashim Amla, we all know who Hashim Amla is, a very fit cricketer, and they have to train for hours, for endurance. He didn't do the walking Hajj. He took the bus. Because, and especially you look at the season where Hajj is in, it's still quite hot. So let's not try to be, it's not a competition when you get to Muzdalifah and you're talking to your, they call Haji Bhais and colleagues, and you're messaging home and saying, we walked, man, we took us so many hours, man, we made it in so many hours, we stayed here. No, it's not about that, my brothers and my sisters. It's about performing the actual act that you saved your life savings for, that it's a once-in-a-lifetime journey, that you're connecting with Allah, that when you return home, you return as a newborn baby, making the dua and a supplication and crying to Allah. It's not about who walked, how many hours you took, what energy you had, how many bags of clothing you bought. It's all in this place, you can do that. But let's pace ourselves. Remember, the pinnacle of Hajj is Arafah. And if we're not fit for that, what was the purpose of taking Ghulam Bhai to this mall and that mall and that mall? His wallet is finished, and he doesn't have any money to pay for the wheelchair to take you to Arafah. Any questions? We're going to take some questions now. Please, it's an open forum, it's informal, there's no stupid question. Anything you'd like to know, we can answer, insha Allah. Whether it's medical related, whether it's mission related, whether it's Makkah, Medina, anything. I see there's questions coming from the ladies. Question 1, for chronic medication, must you have a letter from the doctor, or is the script from the hospital sufficient? For chronic medication, must you have a letter from the doctor, or is the script from the hospital sufficient? It is fine to take the vitamin B12 from here before. So is it fine to take the vitamin B12 from here before leaving? We heard, the second question, we heard that we will have to sit for half a day in a tent outside the airport before returning home. Is this true? And the third question, can a person wear the same ihram for Umrah and Hajj if you launder it between the two? So doctor, the first question is for chronic medication, must you have a letter from the doctor, or is a script from the hospital sufficient? And is it fine to take the vitamin B12 from here, or do you have to take it while stay there?
A letter from the hospital will suffice as long as it's on the hospital letterhead. So that is important that you bring a letter, because sometimes the generics and the original medication is different to the medication they have in Saudi. So it's best, be it your hospital or your doctor, not a problem. You can take a vitamin B shot from here. I actually recommend it, because the journey itself can be very taxing. There was a question about talking about sitting half a day. Am I right? Half a day. So yeah. So take the B12 from here, Bico. There's an injection called Neurobion. It has both B12 and Bico. You can take that. And the what? Okay. And the other thing I just need to say, if those that want to take the influenza vaccine before leaving, it's also advisable to do that. Because we're coming into March, and in March you can take an influenza vaccine. It will help you with a lot of flu symptoms there. Jazakallah.
Okay, while we're just on the medical, I want to mention two or three things. Not that she's omitted it, but I just thought I'd bring it up. One is we'll have our clinic in Medina at the Movenpick Hotel. Our clinic in Medina will be at the Movenpick Hotel. We will let you know at the later stage which are the room numbers via your operator. What we need to also make you understand is that we offer a primary health care facility. And I'm sure you people understand what is a primary health care facility. We don't do operations. We don't do cardiac treatments. There is no oncology in the kingdom. So don't come with 4th stage cancer and expect us to perform miracles. Number 2, what we found to be a common problem is patients will come to the doctor and tell the doctor what treatment she wants or he wants. Why come to the doctor? You're a doctor yourself. Because you already telling me, my toe is sore, give me injection in my head. Or my stomach is sore and fix up my toes. I mean, please, man, respect the fraternity. Let the doctor make the analyzation and let the doctor treat you according to her, because then she takes responsibility. If she can't handle it, she will refer you to the relevant hospital to do that. I'm just mentioning this. In Makkah, we will be at the Marriott Hotel. Marriott Hotel in Makkah. In Azizia, we will be in the Khidmatul Awam building in Azizia, the medical. I'm just saying where it is going to be situated. There are hours of operation. We need to adhere to those hours of operation. In extenuating circumstances, we will assist after hours. Now, an emergency is not a headache. Emergency is not diarrhea. Emergency is not that your legs are sore. Emergency is when you're on the throne of death. That is emergency. Please, because South Africans have this notion that the slightest pain is an emergency. Number 2, we don't do house calls. We don't visit patients in the hotels. The patient must come to the facility, whether it is you have to run, whether you have to jump, whether you have to walk, whether you have to fly, whether you have to hire a taxi. Whatever you have to do, you come to the facility and we will provide the necessary. There is no limitations for consult. There is no charges for consult. There is no price for medication. We don't charge you a single cent. That is all inclusive in your 1,800 reals that you pay when you get accredited for services that we provide. Last year, am I correct, 12,000? How many visits we had? We had 3,000 Hajis and we had 12,000 visits. Calculate how many times the Haji came. But also you must understand, don't come there when it's full and then you want your blood pressure tested. Then you want your sugar tested. Some patients will come every day. You know, in Gujarati, a lot of people understand Gujarati here, no? They say, "Mafat na marcha tika nahi lage." The chilies that you get for free doesn't burn you. It's a very similar connotation here. Because the service is free, people abuse it. We are there to assist you. We are there to help you. But use it. If it's quiet, we will check your BP 10 times, no problem. But when it's chock-a-block, then the guy wants, and he persists, he wants his BP to be checked. And you don't check BP 10 times a day. Once in the evening, once in the morning. So please, I just want to tell you, repeat, Medina will be at the Movenpick, Makkah will be at the Marriott, in Azizia we'll be in the Khidmatul Awam building. On the 5 days we will be in the camp. In the 5 days our facility is a very impromptu facility. Although last year they provided us a cubicle, a very small cubicle. It is a bit congested, but it is better than the previous years. So bear with us, be patient with us, we will help you. Now sometimes the patient will come when the medicine is packed to leave to Azizia, and you tell the person now the medicine is packed, they'll come back home and say, SAHUC refused to help me. Utter rubbish, absolute lies. I want to tell you one incident. Last year, a woman came with her husband. The person had 4th stage cancer. 4th stage cancer. They come to the clinic and now she's telling the doctor what treatment you must give the husband. So the doctor said the condition doesn't allow for that treatment. He needs to go to the hospital. 4th stage cancer is dicey. Nevertheless, that happened. She came home. The husband passed away. You know what was the complaint she put to SAHUC? Yes. She writes a letter. I hold SAHUC responsible for the death of my husband. That is the letter. I got it, we still got it on file. The first thing I told her in the disciplinary, Auntie, go and read your kalima first before you want to talk to us. Because you are out of the fold of Islam. You have said that we are Malik al-Maut. Don't you believe? That is what Allah Ta'ala has destined. She get upset. So you see, when you talk the truth, unfortunately, you're a bad guy. If you speak to her, she'll tell you I'm a rubbish because I told her the truth. So please, understand. First of all, there's no oncology treatment in the whole of Saudi Arabia. All those people who are cancer patients have to go abroad for treatment. We can only relieve. So that's why I say people who are incapacitated, people who are sick, there is no Hajj for you. Why you want to put burden on yourself? Allah doesn't need your actions. Allah needs your intention. So please bear with us. Really, sometimes when you hear these stories, it just makes you feel so difficult and unappreciative. There was one lady, and Razia can bear me out, on Arafat. She came out of the queue and she said to Razia, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the services that you have provided in Saudi Arabia. Fatima Chauhan, our ex-Minister of Home Affairs, was sitting there nearby. And Razia tells me, did you hear what that woman said? I says, you know what, Razia? What that woman said is the only reason that we are here. For me, out of the 3,000 Hajjis, that woman was sufficient for me to go back. If I get one person that says, Jazakallah, it's enough for me. But what I'm saying at the end of the day, you go that extra mile, you try to facilitate, and then people make these type of statements that SAHUC is responsible for the death of my husband. Nevertheless, I see there's a question here. We heard that you have to stand half an hour in a tent before you come home. Now, maybe it's a good question to ask. What happens is that the authorities want you to leave 12 hours before your departure. I'm talking of Jeddah from Makkah. So they send the buses, and 12 hours before, they want you to be at the airport. What then happens is, if the bus have no hiccups, there's no issues, they reach 6 hours. The auntie put it very lightly, she said only half an hour, half a day. But nevertheless, sometimes you have to sit 8 hours in the bus. It's a waiting area at the airport in Jeddah. And they make you sit inside that bus until the authorities inside feel that they have space and it's now time for you to board. Now we have raised this with the authorities, specifically for our elderly people. It is totally unbearable, incumbersome, hot, no facilities there. So we are asking them to reduce that time so that our Hajis don't have to sit so long. Again, it is a requirement from the ministry. The only thing is we can beg, we can plead and motivate our class to tell them, look, try and shorten that time. The reason why they want to cover themselves in the event there's a breakdown, in the event the driver loses his way, in the event the driver goes to the wrong terminal. So there's sufficient time for you. They don't want you to lose that flight because whatever happens after that, it is at their cost. For example, you miss that flight. The ministry will have to pay for your accommodation. The ministry will have to change your flights. So to avoid that, they bring you early. But yes, we understand, we appreciate to a great extent what you're asking. It is true, but we have made representation to ask them that if they can shorten that time period, we don't mind if it's 4 or 5 hours, because generally the check-in counters open up 3 hours before. So if it's 4, 5, 6 hours, I don't have an issue. But anything more than that, yes, it is difficult because where they put you in that waiting area, there's only toilet facilities and nothing else. You can't buy water, you can't buy food, you can't buy nothing. So let's see how far we can get. And that complaint has been taken to the authorities at the airport. Ji Sheikh. Jeddah Airport. Jeddah Airport. You see, you leave 12 hours. Say, for example, your flight is 8 o'clock. in the evening.
Right.
8 o'clock in the morning, you must leave Makkah
Makkah.
to come to Jeddah.
But so Makkah to Jeddah, what's the distance?
It's about 78 kilometers.
But because of
2
the
hours, 2.5 hours drive.
Because of the Hajj period?
Yeah, but maximum 3 hours. But you see, they're covering themselves in the event something goes wrong. If there's a breakdown,
Okay.
or the driver gets lost, or the driver gets to another place where sometimes we found last year one bus driver for 1.5 hours was just around Makkah. He couldn't find his way out on the highway. We had to physically on the phone guide him and tell him how he must get onto the highway. So those are the eventualities that they're trying to cover. But we're telling them that, you know what, 12 hours is a bit too long, especially if everything goes right. You understand? So for them to sit, so we are aware of that problem, but inshallah we will try and see how we can minimize that issue, right? Can a person wear the same ihram for Umrah and Hajj if we launder it between, you can wear it for 25 Hajjs. Doesn't matter. The same ihram. There's no thing that you must wear one ihram for Umrah and another ihram for what is important, it must be pak and it must be clean. Khalas. That's the only condition. There's no condition that for every Umrah or every Hajj or every time you tie ihram, you must buy a new ihram or something like that. There's no ruling like that. So yes, that is quite okay.
So there's a few more questions here. A medical question. Please advise if it's perhaps better to keep the chronic or all medication, to pack it in the hand luggage or to check it in.
Okay, I think I didn't speak about the packing of your bags. I normally speak about that. Our recommendation when you pack your bags, pack it half and half. Half your clothing, half the wife's clothing. Reason being that in the event your bag, one of your bags get lost, at least you got some clothing to carry you forward. Otherwise, what happens if your bag is in the one bag and that thing is gone? You're going to have to wait 3, 4, 5 days before the bag is found. Number two, SAHUC doesn't load the plane. SAHUC doesn't offload the plane. SAHUC cannot be held responsible for your baggage. SAHUC will help you to try and locate and get your baggage back. But don't make it an issue and say, now, you know what did you do about my bags? We can't do anything. They've got their own companies that load the bags. There are times that the bags do get lost. So that's why our recommendation, pack half and half. Number two, your chronic medication, carry it in your hand luggage. Don't carry it on your big bag for the same reason. If it gets lost and you only get the bag after 3, 4, 5 days, there's a problem. Food stuff, it's a problem. Sometimes if that thing gets lost, it comes back after 5 days, it's totally off. But that's a risk you're going to have to take. But you see, we don't take sandwiches, we don't take one paloni. We somehow take the whole butcher. So now, unfortunately, that is the risk that goes with it. If the stuff comes, alhamdulillah. If it doesn't come, then you must accept that when you're going to get it, it's probably, look, it's very safe generally. 99.9% of the baggage is recovered. So we recommend that you take your chronic medication, put in your hand luggage, and bring it with. I don't know if Razia spoke about this. Anything above Schedule 5, you must have a doctor's letter. Otherwise, you're in trouble. There's a Haji, or not a Haji, a visitor. Cannabis oil. Don't carry cannabis oil at all. It is a no-go thing in Saudi Arabia. There's a brother that is arrested for the last year. A known brother from Cape Town, because they found cannabis oil in his bag. In South Africa, cannabis oil is permissible. You can use it, drink it, eat it, smoke it also, no problem. But in Saudi Arabia, it is a banned substance. If they find cannabis oil on you, you can say what you want to. They're going to lock you up. So please, that brother is in prison for 1 year so far, and they're not talking. Even our consulate can't seem to make breakthrough with the authorities and say, you know what, that release this guy. He's not on drugs or anything of that nature, but yes, just take precautions. So anything above Schedule 5, the best thing is whatever medication you have, carry your script. What's so difficult about that? Just carry it. If they ask you, you covered. If they don't ask you, you also covered. Same thing with your yellow cards. I must tell you, last year we had problems where Hajis didn't pitch up with the yellow cards. Meningitis is mandatory. Yellow fever is compulsory. All the other injections are basically optional. There's the polio thing and all that, and even COVID is at the moment optional. But remember, if there is a variant that comes about in the season, they might just ask for it. So if you got it, carry that certificate with you, your COVID certificate. In the past, it was compulsory. At the moment, it's optional. But your cards, like certain Qatar Airlines, didn't want to load passengers who didn't have the yellow cards. And then, you know, we South Africans must be very smart. We'll try to go through the back door and find a card. Or we'll backdate the card. Or we had to, some Hajis lost their ticket. They had to, I'm talking, they lost their flight, so they had to buy another ticket to be on that flight. Or on another flight. I know one Haji was on Qatar. We had to rebook him on Emirates, because Emirates was not checking for the yellow card, but Qatar was checking. I can't give you any guarantees whether Emirates is going to check and Qatar won't check. What I'm saying basically, your requirements, your basic requirements, have it with you. Why should you be now at the mercy of the authorities? Whether it's going to be in South Africa or whether it's in Saudi Arabia. We know what the regulations are. Carry that, you clear. Foreign currency. Make sure you have letters for your foreign currency. Take the Upland dollars, don't carry it with you. You can get away with it sometimes. But when you get caught, SAHUC can't make a plane. SAHUC is not an architect. You don't draw planes. When you are overweight, then you want SAHUC to organize. Another important thing, weight. They are getting very strict with weight, specifically coming back. You know, normally when we go, our bags are empty. We've got more food than clothes. When we come back, we've got more abayas and kurtas and topis than our other stuff. So if you're above 23 kilos, it happened to us now on the protocol. If you want 2 kilos above, they make you take it out. Or otherwise, you will have to pay excess luggage. So to avoid that, make sure you send your excess luggage by unaccompanied, or you send it by Saudi Post. Saudi Post is very reasonable, very reliable. I know of Hajis that lost their bags, whose husbands passed away, and we had to arrange for their bags to come. It came through Saudi Post. One tip I can give you, in the bags that you're sending by Saudi Post or unaccompanied, put your old clothes inside. Don't put new stuff inside. Because they hit this woman with 4,000 duty, 4,000 rands. Then we realized it wasn't the husband's clothes she was worried about. She was worried about all the gifts. But be it as it may be, it's her problem. She had to pay for it. So my advice to you is, if you're sending unaccompanied stuff, try and sell your old clothes so you can say personal effects. But if you put new stuff, the custom guys will check it, and they're not going to listen to you. They will make their own valuation, or otherwise you must produce invoices. If you don't produce invoices, you paid 5 riyals, they'll put 500 riyals. There's nothing you can do, because it's now your word against their word. That's just the tip I'm giving you. Other than that, inshallah, so again, medical, like I said, it's available. Please use it, don't abuse it.
Officer, is it true that we shouldn't carry medication with codeine?
Codeine? Yes. Yeah. Well, as long as you got a letter, you got a script, no problem. If you don't have a script, then codeine is also a problem. You understand? So make sure that whatever you carry, as long as it's not, that's why I'm telling you, anything above Schedule 5, you must have an authorized doctor's letter to prove that you are on that medication. Don't bring dacha and get a doctor's letter and you think you're going to get away with it. No, it's not going to work. Don't bring heroin and bring all those tablets and all that. You're going to come into trouble. And the penalty in Saudi Arabia is hanging. They hang you by death, finish and clear. Whether you, especially if you're a foreigner. So you are being pre-warned. And currently in Saudi, they got a zero tolerance with drug and substance abuse. So please, just take the necessary precautions and avoid those unnecessary issues, inshallah.
If you're over 60, yellow fever is not recommended. So what do we do? If you're over 60 years, yellow fever is not recommended.
Get a letter from the doctor. Get a letter from the doctor. The question is that people who are above 60, they are being told that they shouldn't take yellow fever. Get the letter from the doctor to certify that you are not in a position to have yellow fever. They will accept. As long as you can produce the necessary proof. Don't get Hong Kong letters, please. Don't get letters from China. It's not going to help you. Get proper doctor's letter, because sometimes they will phone to verify. And if lied, you know and they know. So just make sure you get proper, authentic letters so that in the event they have to verify, it is verifiable, and inshallah then you shouldn't have a problem.
If you get referred by a SAHUC doctor to go to hospital, how does payment work?
How about payment?
Yeah, how does payment work?
You have to make your own payments. SAHUC can't pay for that now. I hope you're not expecting SAHUC to pay, whoever asked that question. What is happening currently in the kingdom, there are specific hotels for Hajis to go to. You can't just walk into any hospital like you used to do in the past. There's a designated hospital you will be referred to, and it becomes the responsibility of your operator to facilitate that. SAHUC will give you a letter. SAHUC will give you a recommendation. You need to give it to your khadim or your operator, and he will make the facility. Whether your operator pays for it or whether he makes you pay for it, that's between you and him. Let me make this one thing very clear. If you come with a precondition, in other words, you come with a leaking valve, or you come as a heart patient, you will have to bear that cost or your insurance will get affected. That means the insurance that you pay on your policy, on your visa, will be affected to do that. Preconditions are not something they look at it very lightly. What they're telling you indirectly, if you got a precondition, don't come. Yes, I'm not talking about, I got stents. That's not a precondition. I'm taking my medication. Now if something happens, that is something, as long as I got a clean bill of health, no problem. Then they will spend R1 million to help you and assist you. We've had that. Where Haji came there, got sick, and they spend R1 million, treated him and sent him back home. But if you come there, and you come as a sick person, they're going to tell you, boss, you go back home, man. Find your treatment back home. Because a lot of people from other countries have been taking advantage of the medical services there in the country. They got state-of-the-art hospitals, state-of-the-art equipment. So if it's something, like for example, you come and you fall, they will take you, they will look after you, they will put you in plaster, they will do everything for you. Another lesson for us to learn. There was a Haji that met up in an accident. A youngster came and he drove them off their feet. Both husband and wife, legs badly damaged. So the cops came to the hospital, and they told us, the South African, what is your situation? He said, no, I make the guy maaf. They asked him 3 times. He said, I make the guy maaf. Khalas, you made the guy maaf, you finish. Now he comes to SAHUC, he wants a nurse, he wants a business class ticket to go home because he can't sit in a plane anymore. Brother, you had the opportunity to make those demands when the guy came to ask you what is your situation, because that guy was guilty of the offense. So don't commit. Now I'm going to tell you a joke, by the way. I learned this when I was traveling from Johannesburg from Pretoria to Johannesburg. There was a brother who is now a muttaqi character. He's now in Jamaat full-time. But he used to work in the stock exchange. No offense to the ladies, please. I just want you to make very clear. No offense to the ladies. So this guy, we were traveling, he says, you know what, remember one thing in life. Don't commit yourself. He says, let me give you an example. Even if your wife tells you she wants to go to her mother's house on Sunday, don't say yes. Say, we'll see. So I told him, now how can you say that, man? He says, no. On that day, if your mother dies, the wife is going to say, you promised me you're supposed to take me to my mother's house. You take me to my mother's house because you committed yourself. So same way, don't commit yourself. If that cop comes and asks you what you have, I'll think about it. But the minute you make maaf, you can't go back and make a claim against that guy. Then you're looking, they came back to South Africa and they made such a big issue about it. Like SAHUC was the guilty party. Somebody else knocked you off. You made that person maaf. Now SAHUC must pay the cost. Where's the Russian? They got a woman from Saudi to fight their case for them. Obviously, it was a losing battle. There was a Fatima Muhammad. I don't know if you people know her, but she tried to defend these people. holding SAHUC. Now they want us to put the nurse 24/7 to look after that patient. But when you had the opportunity, when the authorities came to ask you, you could have told them, look, now our condition is bad, we need a nurse, we need a business class. They would have facilitated. That guy would have paid for it because he will go to prison for what he done. But you made maaf, khalas. So please, that's a lesson for us to learn. If something like this does happen and you are not sure, consult and then commit. If you commit, there's no way you're going to go back. So, okay, let's just...
We have one more question from the floor and then just 3 questions here. Question from the floor?
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
My name is Rain Williams, and I've been to Umrah 2019. I took the yellow fever injection in 2019. I just want to know, is that still available because I took it in December? Or must I go for another injection? Because I've got my yellow card.
How long is valid? Yeah, yellow fever is valid for a lifetime.
Okay.
Right? In the old days, it used to be 10 years. Now, if you take it once, it's valid for a lifetime. As long as you got it in your yellow card. Meningitis is valid for 5 years.
Okay.
Right? But you must have a card. You can't just go there and say, you know what, I took yellow fever in 1955. And they're not going to accept that. The card must prove that you got yellow fever. And then after that, you do not take it.
I've got my card. The other thing is, there's a hospital in Makkah, there by the bottom by the hotel. When I was in Makkah, I came out, and this boy threw the glass of Zamzam, and I slipped on it, and I broke my toe. The cops took me to the hospital, and they took me to Azizia, a hospital in Azizia. Actually, there was not, in Azizia, they helped me very well. Saudi government paid for everything. The only thing I want to know is, if I get hurt again, will they still take out that record, or is it something else?
Well, I don't know whether they still have that record. You see, in the old days, we used to go to what we call Mustashfa Noor. Mustashfa is hospital, Noor is a name. Now they have designated King Abdulaziz Hospital as a hospital where they assist the Hujjaaj. Whether they're going to have the records there or not, I can't say, because I don't have any information. But in the event something like that happens, they will go the full way to help you, to assist you, to stabilize you. They will go do that. That you don't have to be, you can be rest assured. And you know there is an insurance that you are paying, which is part of your visa. And that insurance will then be activated if you need any other service over and above what that hospital offers, insha Allah. Yeah, that's a separate insurance. Traveler's insurance, you take out yourself. That is for your baggage and for your ticket and all this. This is primarily just a medical insurance, yeah. Gee. It's almost like a what you call it, a hospital plan type thing. Right? Gee.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Over 60s don't have to pay, don't have to take a yellow fever vaccine. But they don't give you a yellow card, they give you a paper to waiver that. So you don't own a yellow card. They only give you a paper with meningitis. Is that valid?
You must have a letter.
Yes.
The doctor who says that you must certify that this particular person, passport number so-and-so, ID number so-and-so, name so-and-so, is 60 years and over, and in our opinion, the yellow fever is not required due to X, Y, and Z. Just have a letter from the doctor. There's no problem for that, inshallah.
Exactly.
Barakallah.
What's up? My rheumatoid arthritis has to be injected once a week. It's in liquid form. Can I carry it in my hand luggage? What syringes? The rheumatoid arthritis is injected once a week. It's in liquid form. Can I carry it in my hand luggage and syringes?
You can carry anything in your hand luggage without drugs. Just make sure you have a letter for it. Whether it's in liquid form, whether it's in powder form, whether it's in tablet form. Anything above Schedule 5, you need a letter. Please understand that. Anything above Schedule 5 is regarded as drugs in the kingdom. They are so strict, even we as the mission, they will pass our whole consignment. But if they look at that Schedule 7, they want to see it. As much as we have permission, they want to see it. How much you brought. You must explain who you're going to give it to, why you're going to give it to. So what I'm telling you, Hajis, you can take any medication. As long as anything is above Schedule 5, you must have a letter. Below that, you don't have to worry. But my recommendation is you are seeing a doctor. The doctor has prescribed this for you. So just take the doctor's letter with. So you shouldn't have any issues. You can carry it in your hand luggage, no problem.
Do we make our own bookings for the Roda or the agent books it for us?
Everyone has to do their own booking for the Roda. This concern was raised in our protocol meeting that, when the person comes, he's only allowed to go once in a Roda. The minister gave us the explanation that this was actually for people that were the local inhabitants. But it becomes very difficult for them to ascertain who's foreigners and who's local. So they were going to try and see how they could work out a situation where they will allow you more visits to the Roda. That's number one. If you come stuck, talk to your operator. If you still come stuck, talk to one of the SAHUC representatives and we will try and see how we can help you. I can't promise you, but how we can help you. Now, just a caution. It is not necessary. Yes, if you get the opportunity, go to the Roda. No doubt about it. We don't have to fight and get upset to be in the Roda. Now I want to give you a story of a very pious person. They say when he passed away, one of his friends saw in a dream that 8 doors of Jannah opened up and told him, give us the honor of accepting you into Jannah. That was the level of the piety of this man. This man never, ever went to make salam in front of the Roda. Never. So they asked him why. He says, you know what, I'm such a big sinner. I am such a big sinner. How do I put my face in front of my Aka? How do I put my face in front of the greatest creation of this earth? How? So he used to sit behind a pillar and read his salam from there. Wallah, your intention is more powerful than the action, man. Please, brothers, get this down into our brains. The intention, it's not going there in front of the Roda. Yes, you get the opportunity by all means. Don't get upset. You know the ladies, they scream. I'm not talking of South African ladies. You ever seen African ladies in a wedding function? They scream from the entrance right till they go to the Rosa. What are we doing? We are showing total disrespect. You were making our Prophet ﷺ twist in the grave. That this is how we conduct ourselves. So there's no need to fight and push and shove. Our durud from South Africa goes to him. So your durud is not going to go to him when you're in Medina. It will definitely go to him. Yes, again, I want to reiterate. You can. If you get the opportunity, make the bookings, go. No problem. Be respectful, be obedient, be, what a Muslim must be. And then you'll see how Allah will open up the way for you there. But you become aggressive, even those doors that's supposed to open won't open for you. Again, that's just a piece of advice. Again, I'm not an alim, but I'm just telling you, this is what I've learned. Sorry.
A few more questions. I've heard that not all meat is halal in Saudi Arabia.
Hey, no?
Is meat halal in Saudi Arabia?
I'm not Sana, man. You people are asking me now. You're becoming like the typical Hajis out there. Want to know from SAHUC whether the meat is haram or halal. Okay. Firstly, there is difference of opinion. Some of the ulama said they have done their investigation and they found that the meat coming from Brazil is questionable. Now let me again say one thing. One very important principle in our deen. One is taqwa and another one is masala. For the ordinary person to understand, taqwa is your piety, the level of piety. And masla is a ruling. Now how do I make you understand that? There was a guy, he was making tawaf of the Kaabatullah. When he finished off, he didn't know what must he do. Must he walk backwards? Must he walk sideways? Must he just walk away? So he went to a pious person. And he went to go and ask him, brother, can you explain to me what must I do? Because I see some people, when they finish the 7, then they walk backwards. They don't want their back to face to the Kaaba. The other guy walks sideways. The other guy walks, out of respect. So what is the right way? So that pious person told him, he says, bhai, you're asking me for the masla? The masla is, you just finish your tawaf and you walk. There's no backwards and sideways and frontwards and whatever you have to do. Couple of hours later, the very same person that he asked the question, he makes his tawaf. When he finishes tawaf, he walks backwards. So this guy saw him, he must be a guy like me, I can look at this hypocrite. I asked him the question, he reckoned there's no ruling. Now he's walking backwards. So he told him, brother, you asked me the masla. I gave you the masla. But my taqwa, my inside, my own self, I just feel I don't want to face my back to the Kaaba. So that's why I walk backwards. To understand the difference between taqwa and masala. So it's the very same thing with the meat. It's the question of your taqwa and your masala. Some of the ulama say the responsibility lies on the people who are feeding you. You come to my house, are you going to ask me that meat is halal? You don't have the right from a Shari point of view. Likewise, if I come to your house, yes, if I know that you are eating pork or you are involving interest or you're involving wrongdoing, then I shouldn't come to your house. But technically, if I go to an ex-Muslim's house, that is now the masla. But taqwa will say, you know what, I don't want to chow, what's that famous thing? Al-Baik. South Africans go made for Al-Baik, you see. But my inside tells me, look man, I want to avoid Al-Baik. That's my choice. That's a taqwa issue. But the masla issue is, I asked a Saudi guy once, why did you pay? He says, do you think we don't, now obviously that doesn't apply today because now the Kafirs are also coming into Makkah, Medina. Before they never used to allow them. But he gave me an answer that time. He said, we don't allow kuffar to come into Makkah, Medina. How are we going to allow haram to come in? So again, I don't want to make any just, assumptions and I don't want to pass any ruling. You have to decide. What I do, my personal opinion again, we're on the mission, we go and we ask that owner, is this local chickens or is this foreign chickens? If he tells us it's local, slaughtered locally, I eat. If he tells me it's foreign chickens, I avoid it. But I'm not telling you it's haram, please. I want you to understand. I'm not saying that. It is just my inside thing of my own that I say that I avoid it. Now, 2 years ago, we had an issue. Was it 2 years or last year? I can't remember. We made this very clear with our caterer. That South Africans, they're very finicky about halal. They will do haram. They will take 100% interest also. But when you give them a chow, it's haram. Oh boy. He's got a problem with that. I've noticed that. We got a rehab center we run, You tell him you're going to the Portuguese cafe, you're going to have burger. That guy goes in a frenzy, man. But you give him 1 hour, he goes and buy heroin from Yetel, Timbuktu. So the heroin is halal, but the burger is haram. So South Africans have that mindset. So what I'm saying basically is that this is what I do. Now there was some New Zealand lamb boxes the guy found outside the tent. And he spread the message, you know what, these people are buying meat from New Zealand. It's haram. That message came to my ears. Fortunate enough for me, I have a very close family member that lives in New Zealand. Same time, I took a photo of that box and I sent it to him to tell him, please can you check for me, because I know he's an alim and he's involved in the activities there. Can you check for me if this thing is haram or halal? Within 15 minutes, he came with the answer. No problem, I stand guarantee it's halal. We have certified it halal. But because the guy saw it, khalas, New Zealand, haram. What I'm saying is, verify the information. Check it out. If you're not comfortable, don't eat it. Nobody's going to put a gun to your head. So don't ask me that question, whether it's halal or haram. I leave it to you totally. I'm telling you what I do. The hotelier tells me that it's local chickens, I eat. I believe him, I take him in confidence. And if he tells me that mutton is local, I eat it. If it's abroad, it doesn't necessarily mean, especially the lamb. Most of the lamb comes from New Zealand, but there could be other countries also where they're getting. So unfortunately, I don't have more information than that as far as the halal is concerned. So you brothers and sisters, like I said, some of them have made that statement that we should try and avoid the meat in Saudi Arabia. I leave it to you. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Just one quick question. Our Hajj operator has taken our passports away, and they said we will get it when we return. Would it be a problem moving in the kingdom without a passport?
Technically, when you come to the kingdom, the passport will be taken away by the authorities. You only have permission to move between, depending where you go, Jeddah, Medina, Makkah. Any other place you want to go, also with necessary permissions. Any other place you have to go, you have to get the relevant permissions from the authorities to travel without a passport. So you're not allowed to travel. For example, if you want to go to Taif, if you don't have your passport, you can't travel. Unless you get permission or they give you the passport with somebody's undertaking that you are going to come back. One of the reasons they do that is for stayovers. I know South Africans don't normally stay over, but they can't have a rule for South Africa and a different rule for Bangladesh and a different rule for India. They have one law. So nobody is allowed to have their passports. Their passport's supposed to remain with the authorities. Once you leave the kingdom, they will give you the passport. For example, you land in Medina, your passport is taken away, the authorities keep it. When you move from Medina to Makkah, the bus that you're going to be traveling with, that driver will have the relevant passports for the relevant passengers in that particular pass. He will take that in the bag. When he comes to the Makkah service provider, he hands that bag over to that particular service provider. He keeps it in safekeeping, and the day you leave, you have to prove that you are on that particular flight. Your operator will have to do a manifest, and the passports will be given to him till you get to the airport. Once you get into the terminal building, then you will get your passport back. Once you're in the kingdom, your passport is taken away. And if you want to move anywhere in the kingdom, even people who go for ziyarat to Jeddah, while they're in Makkah, the operator has to get the relevant permissions from the authorities, who then give you a letter with a manifest, and then the bus can take you and bring you back. That is the rule, unfortunately.
Jazakallah. Just another quick question. Traveler's will. Can you give us any insight or some advice on a traveler's will?
Look, the best thing is to speak to the Jamiyats. They have a ready-made traveler's will. Just get in contact with them, and they'll give you the necessary guidance as to. It's a very simple document, all right? So what I'm recommending is, your local imam, he will tell you, because a lot of people got these wills, and you just get it from them and do your name, your ID number, and who you're bequesting, and who you are putting the trustees, and what must happen to your belongings. So it's a very simple, straightforward thing. It's not complicated. But consult with your imam or your local Islamic organization. They'll facilitate, insha Allah. Okay?
Just a clarity on the Rhoda booking. For the last 2 years, for Hajj specifically, the Rhoda booking was done as a group by the operators. We don't know if this year whether it will be the same or individuals will need to do their own booking. So for the last 2 years, operators were doing the group bookings.
The person who said the last 2 years, that means he was there for the last 2 years. Whoever was there for the last 2 years, you're not supposed to be there this year. That means you are cooking the system. So that guy can own up and I can look at him and I can see what it is happening. Because how you know the last 2 years we were did that? That means you're a repeat Haji. Be it as it may be. That's
from Muaz.
Yeah?
From Muaz.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's from our president. So anybody that knows what happened 2 years, that means you were there. The only time you can go now on Hajj is that you must be acting as a mahram for somebody that didn't go for Hajj. I'm talking from a male perspective. Yes. The operators, you have the choice. The operators will do it for you. I mean, it is easier if you do the Roda booking through your operator, because they have special slots that are allocated to bigger groups. But you can try on your individual basis. If you fail individually, go to your operator, which I told you, that if you come stuck, come to us. We will try and see how we can facilitate. So the choices are open to you. It's an online system. If you feel that your operator is delaying, or which he wouldn't do, because he feels he also wants to allow you to give you that opportunity. So if he can do it for you, alhamdulillah, he will do it for you. If he can't, then you do it on your own. And if you still come stuck, talk to us. We'll see. I'm not promising you. We will try. Again, I'm remembering my friend, you see. Don't commit yourself. So I'm not committing myself. I'm basically saying we'll try, insha Allah.
The last two questions. My husband and I are asthmatic. Can we carry our own nebulizer and meds in our hand luggage? So I think the other thing is the nebulizer.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you have space to carry your nebulizer. If you have, then you can carry it. That shouldn't be a problem. As long as you got no heroin inside there and you got no other issues inside that, nebulizer, it shouldn't be a problem. But it depends on the size of the nebulizer. You know, if it's small and compact, no problem, carry it. If not, put it in your big bag. We don't have a problem, although we have nebulizers at the clinic. We provide that facility. But if you feel that you are comfortable with your own one, since you're a chronic asthmatic patient, by all means you can carry it, no problem.
And because it's the election time, I think many people still want to be in the spirit of voting. Any advice for South Africans in terms of the voting situation as you would have left for Hajj and elections would be underway?
Yes, we had a meeting with the Consulate General of Jeddah advising us about the voting. But the reason I didn't touch on it, there wasn't clarity as to what the requirements are going to be. They told us that there will be a polling booth in Jeddah. That means we will have to travel from Makkah to Jeddah to go and vote, or we will have to go from Medina to Jeddah to go and vote. And I told him, you know what, that's going to be a nightmare. He said, however, if anybody wants to do voting there, he will facilitate it with the government to allow our people to come and do the voting. That was one. Number two, if you are not registered, you can't vote. So that's the first precondition. You must be registered as a voter. Number two, you have to change your polling station in South Africa. So if I'm going to vote, if I'm registered at Lenasia Extension 5, I need to change my polling to Jeddah. Then I can go and vote in Jeddah. If I don't do that, I won't be allowed to vote. Where there was no clarity, which he was going to follow up with the IEC, that there might be another document that we have to fill out in order to qualify us to vote in Saudi Arabia. He was going to do the necessary follow-up and then come back to us. We thought that when we get that clarity, then we will inform the Hajis via social media or via email that this is the procedure. If you want to vote, this is what's available. You'll have to follow that process in order to do the voting. However, we did tell the consulate, if you want people to vote, then you'll have to provide some facility to vote in Makkah and some facility in Medina. It's going to be very difficult. And you're asking for, a difficult situation where people must now come and travel just to come and vote to Jeddah and come back. Medina specifically, by train, it's not a cheap exercise. It's going to cost you minimum 350 riyals, times it by 5. So are the people going to do that? Wallahu alam. But those that really want to vote, just wait for clarity. We will inform you. but this was the discussion that we had with the consulate. We had a Zoom meeting, and the representative also from Turco was on that call, and there was a little bit of ambiguity regarding this particular point. So we decided that we're not going to touch it until such time we have clarity. But since the question has come up, I'm just relaying what was discussed.
Officer, we have the last question.
Sorry, Maaf, one last one. In Mina, are the facilities separated for men and women, or is it?
Yes.
Is it all?
Men and women are separated. They have their own tents. Although, I mean, you walk around, they're in the passages, and you can obviously make arrangements for your wife to meet with you outside or something like that. But yes, they are facilitated separately. What we used to do, we used to put people as per operator. My suggestion, whether it's going to be implemented or not, is something we will have to discuss as we go on, is to put all South Africans together. Doesn't matter which operator you come with. That's my suggestion, whether it's going to happen. But then the argument came about that, you know what, that guy got that spiritual leader and that guy got that spiritual leader. And I say, but they're all alims, man. They follow the Quran and the Hadith. What are we worried about? Which spiritual leader? Rotate. If you got 10, you got 10 sessions. One day this guy give lecture, one day that guy give lecture. What's wrong with that? But we South Africans, we finicky, man. We follow one Imam Khalas. We don't want to listen to another guy. That's wrong. What I'm trying to say, to create some sort of unity and togetherness and brotherhood, my recommendation is, irrespective whether you come from Cape Town, Durban, Joburg, Bosman, Lens, Benoni, you put all men together and you put all women one side. Khair, we'll see what happens. But currently, you are put in as per agents. So Khidmat al-Awam will have his own section, Fly will have his own section, the 8 different operators will have their own sections, and the men and ladies will be separated, and they are separated. Ji. Okay, the train services are available, but you are totally and fully responsible for booking it, for hitches and glitches on the train. First of all, you're only allowed one bag and your hand luggage on the train. So going time is not so much of a problem. Is when you're coming back from Medina, when you got all the khazanas, then you can't take the second bag. You have to pay for it, and you can't bring it on the same train. You have to book it in, and they will bring it at a later date, and you collect your bags from the station. The cheapest price is 140 riyals. The prices differ like the airlines. The quicker you book, the cheaper it is. The later you book, the more expensive it becomes. It can go up to 240, 250 riyals for a single trip. Now, you book it, you miss the train, they don't allow you on the train, don't come to SAHUC for a refund. People did that last year, and they took us to the disciplinary because they wanted the refund from SAHUC. I don't want to go into the whole story of it, but what I'm trying to make very clear, the facility is available for use. The problem is when the Hajis come on an early flight. They come on the 6 o'clock flight in the morning, they catch the train at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock they're in Medina. The accommodation is only available after 2 at that particular hotel. So where are you going to sit between 9 o'clock and 2 o'clock? A lot of people say, I'll sit in the lobby of the hotel. Yes. But if anybody from the ministry walks in and they find you sitting in the lobby with your bags, they will force the hotelier to accommodate you and charge the room rate for that day to you or the operator. They don't want to see anybody loitering around in lobbies with their luggage. They want them to be in their accommodation. So we don't have a problem. If you're comfortable, we have that same situation. The guys come in the early morning, they go on the early train, and they loiter around with their bags and things like that. The ministry don't like that. The ministry want to see you comfortable. They want you in your room. If they don't come, alhamdulillah, no problem. I don't have a problem. You don't have a problem. You can do that. But if they do come, remember that this could be the end result of that situation. Because generally, the hotels only give you the rooms after 2 o'clock. As we all know, Your checkout time in Medina and Mecca is 2 o'clock after Zohar. So the rooms only become available after that. So yes, it's a good experience to have, but again, you make the choices. What's your operator?
Maaf, last question. Changing of the ihram whilst we're in flight or what, can we maybe put the ihram on when we land, or would the pilot announce and say we must?
You're asking me all controversial questions. Nevertheless, like I told you, I'm not an alim. Difference of opinion. Some ulama says you can put your ihram on in Jeddah if you are going to Makkah first. If you're going to Medina, there's no issue. You don't have to put the ihram. You can come to Jeddah, catch your bus, catch your train, catch your flight. You go to Medina, no problem. When you leave Medina, you wear your ihram in Medina. That's a recommendation from the ministry. Although you can do it at Bir Ali. There are facilities there, there are showers there, there are wuzu facilities, spotless, clean. But because of the crowd, the ministry says that make your showers, put your ihram or everything on at the hotel. You don't have to make your intention. Just put your ihram on everything. When you come to Bir Ali, you get off, you make your intention, you read your 2 rakat salah, and you get onto the bus. That is now if you're coming from Medina. If you are going directly to Makkah from here, then like I tell you, some ulama of the opinion, you can wear the ihram in Jeddah. Some of the ulama are of the opinion that you are crossing the miqat in the air. So you should actually don your ihram then. Now I'll tell you what I did. Now on the protocol we went, because this was the first time we had our own visas. In the past we used to have government visas, so there were certain restrictions. So I put my ihram on, I put my kurta on top, my top was left in my bag, I had my underwear on. Half an hour when they announced that we are going to reach the miqat within half an hour, I then went into the bathroom, dropped my underwear, put my top on, made my namaz and made my intention, which was like 20 minutes before we landed, because we were going to Makkah first, so we needed to. So to avoid the I wouldn't call it inconvenience, but to avoid the laws of ihram that are applicable. You know, men is such. The whole flight he won't scratch. The minute he puts the ihram on, then he's itching here, and he's itching there, and itching everywhere else. So to avoid that, I did that. So 20 minutes before I land, I took out I put my towel on. I didn't have a trouser. I put my towel on at the bottom, which you can't see, and my kurta covers it. And I had my top in the bag. So once I made my intention, I put my ihram on, and from there I was in ihram. To satisfy my conscience that I feel that you should don your ihram because you're flying over the miqat. But again, like I said, there is another opinion where they say you can come to Jeddah and put your ihram. That decision I'm going to leave to you as an individual to decide how you want to do it. Taqwa and maslah. Acha. Are we done? Jazakallah. Once again, I want to thank you for participating in the question and answering. I must say, I'm a bit disappointed with the crowd. Not that I need a crowd to talk to. Maybe the YouTube channel will cover us. But I want to really thank you from my bottom of my heart for you people taking the trouble to come here, which shows to me that you are serious about wanting to perform Hajj and serious to take information back to prepare you for this journey of a lifetime. May Allah reward you accordingly. Once again, Jazakallah. Remember us in your du'as, and I take once again the opportunity to wish you a Hajj Mabrur, Hajj Maqbool. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Shukran, Hafizab, and shukran for that informative, interactive session. We really appreciate that, and want to just say thank you to the Gauteng regional team under the guidance of Munir Bangi, Hafiz Qasim Kathrada, Ziad, and the rest of the team, Brother Isup and whoever else all here, Raj as well. Thank you all the team members and the Shayda and everybody else, and all to all the brothers and sisters that came out this afternoon to be part of this program, informative program, and to Hafiz Ismail, we know you're off to Cape Town, and Sister Razia, and to Par Excellence for covering this event live. To everybody who's played a part in making this event a success, we thank you. And we're going to close off with a closing dua by Maulana Mahmoud Hassan Pando, who is the Deputy Chair of the Gauteng region.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم جزا الله عنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو أهله يا ربي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم يا ربي يا الله يا كريم يا رحمن يا حنان يا منان يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا كريم يا Allah, you have accepted these beautiful people, Ya Allah, to come to your Baytullah, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you have accepted them and you have accepted their names and you have accepted their families, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you are giving them the opportunity to come to your house, Ya Allah. You are giving them the opportunity to look at your house, Ya Allah. You are giving them an opportunity to kiss your house, Ya Allah. You are giving them an opportunity to come and make tawaf around your house, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, you love each and every person here, Ya Allah. You're giving him an opportunity to come in front of the Rawdah Sharif, Ya Allah. You're allowing every person to come in front of Rasulullah Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, accept all of the Hajj, Ya Allah. Of each and every person of this Ummah, Ya Allah. Give them a Hajj mabrur, maqbool, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, they're making so much of effort, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, to come and visit your house, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you grant them the reward, the ultimate reward which you have promised them, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you send them back with a Hajj mabrur, Ya Allah. Send them back with all of the bad deeds to be forgiven, Ya Allah. Let them come back clean, pure, park, Ya Allah. Let them come back in the state and like how they were born, Ya Allah. Let them come back in the state, Ya Allah. It's only out of your karam and your kindness, Ya Allah, we beg from you this rahmah and this mercy and this ni'mat from you, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, each person here loves you, Ya Allah, and is coming to express his love for you, Ya Allah. We beg from you acceptance, Ya Allah. We beg from you acceptance, Ya Allah. We beg from you acceptance, Ya Allah. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله.